Hello, everybody, and welcome to Low Ink, the first Low Ink of 2025. I am DRF, joined by the one and only Soev, and we are going to be bringing you the first 3 rounds of day 1, and I am so excited to be commentating the first Low Ink of 2025. Soev, how about yourself?
I mean, this is the first of Low 25, and this is my first Low Ink, so I'm really excited. I've been watching...
Really?
Yeah, this is my first Low Ink actually ever. I've been stuck in the sink or swim pool for so long, and getting a chance to look at all this talent pop up and try to claim the, I guess, the prestige of being thoroughly kicked out of Low Ink is really an interesting prospect, especially for these first 2 teams that we've got coming up on match 1.
Absolutely. And we are going to be taking a look at day-old Sushi versus the coconut crabs. So a couple of teams that I believe have been playing around Low Ink for a little bit. Day-old Sushi is probably one of the oldest brands that you will see, period, in all of Splatoon. There's very few teams that have an older, consistent brand than day-old Sushi.
I was going to say, day-old Sushi is one of those ones that, like, look, I'm relatively new to the community, but even I've seen this team going around and fighting through these lower ink events, so that, I think, really says something. The fact that they're still here also, I think, tells you something about their play over time, but coming up against coconut crabs, which, again, then maybe they're not the, eternal legacy that we've seen here, but they have put in some decent runs here on Low Ink. So I think this is one of those kinds of great, like, test matches for a team like Coconut Crabs. You have day-old Sushi who knows how to play in this. This is not their first Low Ink based rodeo, and it'll be a great, like, look at how the rest of this tournament is going to go based on how you can do against legends of the Low Inks, as it were.
Hey, that's only a way to put it. Yeah, because they definitely, I mean, they've shuffled through rosters, so much in the span of, gosh, like,
forever, yeah,
6-7 years.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I believe the whole thing with day-old Sushi was that you had to be at least 25 to join the roster.
Yeah, it's a boomer squad.
Yeah. So I really hope that that's been part of the consistency that they've maintained through all the years. So this, like you said, it's the boomer squad, and as fellow, I guess, boomers at this stage, maybe, like, I guess once you reach 25, we're getting sent to the retirement home.
Oh yeah, once you clear 30, you are essentially, ancient in the esports world. But speaking of ancient, starting off on the ancient Umami ruins, I think is going to be a great starting point for a lot of this. It's very flat, but with, some interesting geometry to break out. So a lot of these backliners get a chance to kind of really show their stuff. And considering how early on we are on into day 1 of Low Ink here, DRF, it's going to be really important that these backliners are playing in their peak.
Yes, absolutely. Like you said, with Umami Ruin being the first one on deck here, that's going to be super essential to just getting yourself warmed up. It's as simple as that. Just see if you can get your footing early. And not all is lost if, in this game 1, if things don't quite go your way. But it is a good opportunity to feel out your opponent and just make sure that your pencils and your heavy edits are all warmed up and ready to go, and that you're going to be hitting some of those shots. Because again, this is game 1 out of 18 for the day for all of these teams.
Yeah, it is a play all 3, so all 3 of those maps, Umami Ruins, Gorge, and Mako Mart, we're going to see all of them, so it's really, really going to be important that, like you said, you can drop it around 1 or 2, but as the day goes on, it's going to get even harder to do so. And, I mean, it's the other part to this, I think, too, is we're starting off on, like, everybody's favorite space. It's Splat Zones, so, like, nobody's disappointed. You might be a little annoyed that you have to play Umami Ruins, but at least you have Splat Zones to kind of comfort you in regards to the mode pick.
Absolutely. So, there should be no surprises or anything like that. And they should really just, be comfortable right off the bat, hopefully. And it does sound like we might be having some small technical difficulties behind the scene as we're trying to get into the lobby for game number 1. I'm not sure if that's necessarily going to be the case here, as we are, I believe these teams might have accidentally, left our streamer behind. So we
look,
we'll do our best to get you all the action ASAP.
Look, we're all excited to start it. It's low ink for January, day 1. Like, everybody's excited to get in and do it. I can't blame them, but I also would like to see the game to see what changes and things are going to come in. Because, you know what? This is going to set the day for I mean, what a great way to set the day for a stream as well. Just leaving us behind, I think, is going to tell you what's likely to come. But I think in a way, dear, if we kind of know what's going to come, like the meta's not really shifted too much. We're seeing some changes based on personal play and like preferences, but overall, like I don't think we're going to see like anything crazy outside of the normal cooler meta, I have to imagine.
It's low ink, so you never know.
Yeah,
and I think that brings an interesting discussion, actually, because I do think that there are a lot of teams that really try to force the meta within low ink, which it makes sense. It's the meta. People want to play it. They feel like it gives them the best chance. They end up practicing it. They see the higher level teams playing it. But at the same time, you also get a lot of teams that want to play the fun and funky compositions. There are teams that are going to pull out like a Gluga tent combo, and it's just how it goes in low ink. And I think that those are the types of teams that I really enjoy watching. The ones that aren't afraid to experiment, because yes, at the end of the day, the meta is what helps a lot of teams succeed, but I think it's also important for teams to think outside the box and to build an identity around other compositions as well. It helps you stand out a bit. That's what TZS does all the time, and I mean Popgun was making jokes at us all the past month for basically saying, y'all could play in low ink because your comp will fit right in.
I mean, you are 1000% correct though. Like, it's very easy just to say this is the best thing we should be doing, and let's just do that. Like you said, like let's just mimic the pros and go from there. But there is a difference. Like you said, this is that testing ground that is low ink. You get the chance to really kind of understand and apply what they're doing. And we're seeing initially the end zap on one side, and the heavy edit is going to be on the other side. So a little bit of difference in the compositions. A very more aggressive comp out of, I believe that is day old Sushi over there. Yes, in the orange. So a little bit of a more aggressive comp with that. And I do like that, actually. It's a much better take for this wider zone.
Yes, it absolutely is. So I'm pretty excited because, again, you do get some pretty standard weapons alongside some more fun picks. Like I'm loving this Dread Nautilus combo out of day old Sushi. Like that's just going to be so much fun to kind of follow along here. And it's of course going to spotlight that Reef Slider out of Fat Earth, who did flip that left zone, but it is an absolute clash early on in the middle, as the Tetra is going to trade a Reef Slider of their own, but going to get pinched by 3 players on day old Sushi. And that pick might just be the catalyst here, for day old Sushi to get their first opening push going, and it's going to be an impactful one.
Yeah, they did commit Cooler into it too a little bit later. I think maybe there was a concern that maybe we can push up and take the space here. So they really do need to make sure they get control. When you have 2 zones like this, it becomes even more difficult to maintain the aggressive space like this. Like, Kevin is playing so aggressively, and they're even going to send in the Reef Slider that gets 2. What a great slide from Fat Earth there.
That was fantastic. Get that third pick. Trying to hunt for the quad. Not going to be able to find it there. Going to be forced to retreat. And a great call there nonetheless. Sucks to not get the quad, but hey, that's a pretty solid triple nonetheless.
You're happy with that, especially because now you're at 20%. It's going to be last push territory for the side of Coconut Crabs, and they'll have to send in the slider to even kind of get a flip and stall it out. It's still not work done though. Kevin does fall, and looking for another one with these dualies. Rekka finds a second. So I mean, they will get the swap here, but there's still so much work to be done that I think you're fine with that if you're day old Sushi. Like, that's fine. You have a lead. You just can kind of sit back and slow play for it.
Yeah, I mean, that was an opening push. So yes, 2 minutes into the game, there was a little bit of back and forth early on, but I think Dale Sushi has this game right where they want it, despite being 2 down now and the forced jump out. So it is going to be a little bit of turbulence for Dale Sushi to try to get back in. Coconut Crabs in control, trying to hold the front lines down. 2 members holding on to each zone. Backing up, going to be popping this crab plus the reef slider. See if they could send Dale Sushi backwards. And they do find 2. And that's going to be massive for them as they now hunt for the possible lead. The trip strike's coming out, but that's going to be all of the specials that Coconut Crabs have. Dale Sushi looking to respond with 4 specials of their own, but 3 members go down. The reef slider, the only thing in their pockets to try to hold on to these zones, seeing if they can just prolong this neutral state, get the rest of the team back in, and it is just back and forth on both these zones, and Dale Sushi forces the flip. Wow.
That is a huge flip. That gives them a second life on this. Now that they're under 2 minutes, it really just gives them the chance to actually maybe close this out and keep their win active. They spent every single special they had there, but it was in the 11th hour. So the Zuka needs to come huge. First shot missed, the second shot goes wide, and the triple ink strikes come down as well. They didn't really get everything they're looking for on either side, so it's going to come down to these specials that come in like Zucky's crab here.
It certainly will. 1:30 to play. Just a little bit of slow special building on either side as both teams going to unleash their specials onto the opposite zones. See if they can maintain some sort of control. And it looks like Coconut Crabs is going to be the ones that win out in this team fight. 45 on the penalty. 2 members up on either side with another player going down on the side of Day Old Sushi. This is going to come down to the wire, folks, with 1 minute to play. Coconut Crabs in the driver's seat and looking to push just beyond that 19-point remaining mark.
It's that last minute, so we're coming into last shot, and the early Zuka not finding any value is not a good sign. Coconut Crabs do get control back, but there's nothing. There's 3 down from Day Old Sushi, so they are going to close this out here. There's 30 seconds, but in 10, it'll be all over. Day Old Sushi need to do something, and that reef slider is up. He's going to have to send it in. Fat Earth, can he flip it here instead? No, gets traded out. Does get the neutral, but that's not enough.
Oh, and the NZAP trying as quickly as possible to get around to the other zone, but it is not in time. Coconut Crabs comes from behind in this one to secure the first game of the day.
That was a very tough, close game here. Both of that just realistically, like both teams really kind of making it close, just keeping it down to the wire. You could see it in just how important it was to flip. It is a 2-zone map after all, so playing to the neutral does work in your favor, but neither team really was able to kind of fight in towards this middle control space. And once you could see that, Coconut Crabs was able to push up and push past this to kind of lock out the space, it becomes so much harder on a map like Umami Ruins. So just great map reads from both teams for this, and a well-deserved win from the side of Coconut Crabs.
Yes, exactly. Coconut Crabs definitely, like I said, they had a bit of turbulence early on. It was a struggle for them to break back in once Day Old Sushi got that initial control. But the second that they finally got a good grasp and flipped the zone back in their favor, the rest of the game just really played out, in their control. So they did such an excellent job of maintain the zones, and even whenever they had to relinquish control back to Day Old Sushi, it was never for too long. Yes. They were always, just coming up maybe just one step right behind with those specials to try to reflip the zones. And I really think that, particularly that reef slider and the crab came in clutch. We saw so many picks come out of those 2 specials in particular, yes, and they played those 2 to perfection.
The reef slider is always one of those important pieces when you look at zones in particular, because of how quickly you can just take space back with it. So it doesn't shock me, but getting it actual value and getting pick value out of it is something we're not used to. And now that we move over to Clam Blitz on Scorch Gorge, those tricks are going to change. So we're going to have to see what weapons adjust with that. I see the brush from Fat Earth here, and I like that change. I think that's a much better, more aggressive tool. You need some way to get in and really put pressure onto the backline. You just have to make sure you aren't losing to Zuki on the opposite in that kind of melee frontline spot, because you do have a lot of those tools, but you are playing a much more aggressive frontline with Dale Sushi's brush here.
Absolutely well said as we dive on into game number 2, and it is scrappy early on in this one as both teams looking for those quick picks. The Inkjet already out from D. They're just trading players back and forth. 2 members going down now on the side of Coconut Crabs, giving Day Old Sushi a window of opportunity. Do they have the clams to kick off an opening push within the first minute? It seems like they do, but they're trying to pass the clams around while managing the players of Coconut Crabs. Finally going to be able to score there, and this push is underway, but it seems like there's not going to be too much value out of this one.
It was a really tough push because it was a great realization that you had the picks to go early, so a great recognition of that. And they're still keeping this open. They're down to 53 now, so they are getting value out of this. And another Inkjet up for D means that they should be able to get another pick and keep this live down to 44 now. And this kind of delayed slow pick really is working in their favor now. They have to get a few more claims to keep this open, but now that the members of Coconut Crabs are back, that is likely, I was just about to say that, likely to be an end here, but they back down to 20. DRF, this is arguably more than they should have gotten away with. This should have been done probably around the 40 to 50 mark. I mean, and Zion is, just missed it in the last minute. I was gonna say, they got a lot for free out of that push.
They definitely did, because there was a couple of times where they were flirting with that timer on the clam basket, and right on the cusp of it closing, they end up sneaking in a couple clams to extend the timer, and like you said, got a lot of value out of it. I think they just came in with 2 power clams there to reopen the basket. They only need a handful of clams to close this one out. Are the clam spawns in their favor? Zion coming in with 3 more, but I don't see any clams for them to work with on top of that. So this basket might just close. Oh, D!
There's a few more spawns.
The clams are right there! Oh, will they get them in time? It's going to be once again down to the wire.
Kevin's got it. Wow.
And they close this one out in convincing fashion. I mean, you almost quite can't get better than that.
No, I initially had a critique at the beginning of going to say, look, that was a great push, a great recognition that you had the advantage for the side of Day Old Sushi to kind of go and push in on that. But it was a little slow. Like you said, they didn't quite have the clam, and I was about to, be a little nitpicky to be like, look, you guys got to time your push a little better. But they did the other thing that kind of works as a plan B, which is they kept them in spawn. Kevin was so deep, but also basically kept a quad, basically almost team swept on his own. So when you have your frontline Slayer able to carry like that and just win those duels, that does so much for your team to really get it to get it back together, to really make it work. So kudos to them, because that kind of separation of teamwork really, really kind of saves the day for Day Old Sushi.
Like you said, it really was just the stagger, especially when you do get an opening push like that. Sometimes it's hard because the clam economy just isn't there for such a quick opening push.
Yeah.
But they did a great job of committing most of their members to enforcing the stagger of Coconut Crab members. And then the last couple of members worked on swapping clams to get the opening push going. And from there, it snowballed. It was a very slow snowball, but it was a snowball nonetheless, because, I mean, it takes a heck of a lot of effort to get all the way down to 20 points remaining on your first push, and then to maintain it, to reopen the basket and knock it out. I don't even know how long that game lasted, but it felt like it was just 2 minutes of Day Old Sushi scoring.
Yeah, I don't think you could have put it better. Last map for the round 1 here on the 3. It is going to be Mako Mart Tower Control, and finally we're on a little bit of a smaller map, but I do think that this map has a little bit more, puts a little bit more pressure on, I think, our lurkers and our frontline slayers, the ones that kind of like to get on those side angles and really kind of take flanks just because of the architecture of the mart itself. So, we had a lot of pressure on our backliners in these first 2 maps, and now I think it's finally a chance for some of these players like Kevin and Fat Earth to really kind of come in and shine from these different side angles, especially for tower control, where it's so slow moving.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive on into this one. Compositions, mostly a mix of what we've already seen from these first two games, but Coconut Crabs bringing out the ballpoint themselves, plus that Neo machine. So that's going to be a fun addition there, and that's going to work so well along these ledges that Mako Mart produces, as Day Old Sushi is going to be the first ones in control of the tower here, but it doesn't look like they're going to get too much out of it right away. Slowly just tapping the tower forward to maintain some sort of forward control, but nonetheless, it is back to a neutral game after an 8-point push, if you want to call it that, for Day Old Sushi.
You know, just a little nudge of space there. Gets Fat Earth for Zucky on the side there. This is what I was talking about when I was talking about those side angles. You can see everybody's trying to play from these low grounds and these side streets to really kind of get the picks. Great pick from there, and the rest of the jump-ins are coming in from Day Old Sushi. D has just been on fire in these last two maps in particular, looking phenomenal from this backline spot. Exactly what you need out of your anchor positions.
Exactly, and Day Old Sushi gets wiped. So Coconut Crabs will go on to the offensive big time, as you could just see this three-person front as the ballpoint rides the tower and is now going to activate the Inkjet to take charge of the front lines themselves. Plus, the Reef Slider is going to help find another player. It is a full advantage for Coconut Crabs, but they are really slow to push this objective forward. And that actually bought an opportunity there for Day Old Sushi, for Zion to get behind the tower and just create a little bit of chaos. 3 specials now on the side of Day Old Sushi, and they're looking to flip the complete tide of this match when Coconut Crabs had full control.
That's going to be the special from Fat Earth going in, just clearing the space. And that was, like you said, you know, you can get the picks, you can find the value, but if you don't keep the cart moving, it's going to get stuck at that first point. And finally, Day Old Sushi is going to get back control of the cart. They should be able to take the lead also as they round this last corner. And with the cooler now out, they look primed to continue to press this, especially with 2 trapped now and Fat Earth just swinging away.
And it's almost baffling to me right now just how much everyone's playing around the objective, but not really trying to play, you know, with the objective there, as Kevin's gonna go ahead and say, screw this, I'm gonna force this tower through the first checkpoint, not gonna let what happened to Coconut Crabs happen to us. So now they're gonna have that cleared for the rest of this game, where Coconut Crabs is still gonna have to clear that first checkpoint if they can get back some control. But Day Old Sushi, Zion with a nice double.
Yeah, and shut out 2 of those specials there, so just beautiful value from that. Is going to toss in, the cooler gets picked, but I mean, a little late on that to the little that. And you had kind of mentioned it, it's just a little bit of a timing issue in addition to the space issue. Everybody's playing so closely around the tower objective that they aren't, you know, they're kind of subjected to these flanks, and Zucky with a great shot there finally kind of puts an end to one of these flanking menaces. You need to take more control of this map if you're going to get past these difficult choke points.
And the checkpoint finally cleared for Coconut Crabs. They take the lead, but the question will be by how much, as the Reef Slider tries to come up with a cheeky play there, but ultimately comes up a little bit short. Enough, though, to just cause a little bit of chaos and keep this tower forward. Coconut Crabs looks like they're going to concede control for now. They are satisfied with this 52-point push. I mean, they kind of have to be this late into the game, and with the game being as low scoring as it has been. So Day Old Sushi, it's up to them to respond. The ball is in their court.
Yeah, coming on to the last minute now, Day Old Sushi is really just trying to find anybody that they can get value on and push the space. Kevin does get picked, and another Zuka comes in. It clears out. It's just 1-to-1 trade. Fat Earth falls second. So Day Old Sushi, all the pieces are crumbling apart. They do get a little bit more push onto the tower before it goes back the way of Coconut Crabs, and that was kind of all the rest of the fuel they had, DRF. That was kind of all their specials that remained. They're going to have to try to make a stand, but it's not going to be enough as the wipeout comes in.
Oh, it is not enough, most certainly. 30 seconds to go. They need to quickly rebuild these specials to find an opportunity back in, and on top of that, survive the specials coming out from Coconut Crabs, who gets the nice Zuka shot there. 2 members down. This is starting to look like a Coconut Crabs victory march here. 10 seconds to play. The Inkjet finds another, and this is a full-on stagger against day old Sushi. Can they get on the tower in time? Yes, they do, but it looks like they've backed off of it for now. Gonna get back on now. They're gonna have to play a very long, tricky game of hokey pokey, but no, it is not gonna be enough as Coconut Crabs comes out victorious in this set.
That was a very, very close round one set from these two squads. Really, I think sets us a great pace of the day. We see a little bit of old, and we also, like you wanted, we got to see a little bit of unique play from these players and really kind of making these maps and modes their own. So, I mean, both teams really, really did show us a lot of great parts, you know, particularly a lot of the shooting from these range specials like the Inkjet, like the Zuka, which, you know, in a place like Low Ink where you're really kind of vying to show that you can have that impact and you deserve to be playing up with, I guess, the big squids in a regard, that's such an important mechanic to have available. So well done to Coconut Crabs, who really showed that they mechanically can play with the boomers.
We don't exactly know what the demographic of Coconut Crabs is, but if I had to guess, they're trying to channel that youthful energy against the old Sushi. When your whole brand is built around being on the older side, you just have to try to take advantage of maybe being a little bit quicker mechanically at times. But I mean, hey, 25 is supposed to be like peak performance or something, right?
Something like that. I don't know. Don't ask me. I'm well past my prime. So as far as I'm concerned, anybody is going to be in their peak. But I mean, this isn't the peak of the day. This is only game one DRF. So we've got plenty more in the. We've got plenty more matches coming up here on day one in the Swiss section. So there's going to be lots of great action. Hang tight. We're going to get game two up for you in just a moment. The ink may be low here, IPL, but the fun is not. I am So Abdan. I'm back once again with DRF here for game 2. And, well, a set of squads appear for us. We've got Tidal Tempest coming up against Aurora DRF. And, you know, we had seen a squad in the past match that was been here forever, but these two faces I feel aren't too far out from unfamiliar.
Oh, that is going to be correct there. A couple of teams that have some established brand, nonetheless. I believe have been around, you know, a little bit, aiming to contest in low ink a couple of times. But yeah, we're going to be getting this showdown started pretty soon, as these two squads going to kick off round 2 with some crab leg clamblets.
Worth noting, both of these teams did come in winning all 3, so already in the better section. As we were talking about the Swiss format, you know, every game counts here. So going into this next map, 2 undefeated teams is going to be a difference. I always love having this discussion, DRF. What do you make of like the bigger roster? Because we see Aurora here does have a 5-person squad. What do you make of teams that tend to be bigger like this? Because do you think it ends up being enough of an advantage in a lot of times?
You certainly asked the right person this question.
I do. I know I asked this person.
From a 7-person roster. It really depends. You know, for some teams, I think they really need to have a tight 4. And I think that, you know, building up that synergy is quite important. But if you need the flexibility, you know, like a team like TZS does, then, you know, having those larger rosters is, you know, very, very important to, you know, because realistically, sometimes you'll see like 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 people on a roster, but like not all of them are present. That's just a team saying, hey, you know, this is just very frequently how it is. We'll put 8 names down, but only, you know, 4, maybe 5 are available on a given day. So it really just depends. But excited nonetheless, because if you do have 5 players on your roster, that could turn this into a little bit of a match to figure out who is playing when and get some very dedicated counterplay as we jump into game number 1 and seeing some mostly familiar weapons to kick things off.
Yeah, I was going to say, the backline sniper with Kraken is an interesting one here at the start. That's some interesting. And the half-gallon, I always love a good half-gallon, particularly in this map, but Stormy is going to be the one I'm watching for. You know, this just covers like half the map. This is such an easy way to get a win condition of just allowing Stormy to kind of hold down these sight lines and really get easy picks like that.
Stormy off to a great start here, finding 3 consecutive picks, and that could be the catalyst for Aurora to get the first score in the game, and they will. But do they have the follow-up? Oh, never mind. They missed the clam twice. I thought they had that. It looked like they got it off, and it was perfectly timed and everything, but no. Tidal Tempest with some fantastic clutch defense to prevent the score, and now they're going to be looking to build up their own clam economy and get the first score in the game.
They do have a few across multiple players. They do also have the more aggressive comp. It's still going to be a little bit of a pressure here, especially now down your gallon. Wow, some great shots coming through. You do have the pressure in, but it's going to be tough to push through as Stormy is going to send in the Kraken. There's another pick, and you were asking if they were going to shut this down. Yes, Stormy managed to do it. They have to trade their life for it, but Plano is just trying to find any sort of change in with this blaster. No value to be had playing from the low ground, and that push has been stopped, DRF. So a great defense for both of these squads.
Oh, but
I say that maybe. Oh, wow.
Yeah, they even though the push got shut down, they took 2 players with them to maintain the opportunity for their teammates to hold the offensive front. We are 2 minutes into this one. Nobody has scored yet, but it really can take just any little thing going your way to break this one open. The baskets aren't that far from mid, but it is a very tricky choke point to have to navigate around. So it's gonna take a couple of different conditions here as Stormy continues to obliterate the opposition with this E-leader. Doing a fantastic job. Another one for Stormy.
Oh, Stormy is just having a field day. This was going to be kind of one of my later points, but I'll say it now as we do get a pick onto Plano. But I mean, if this backliners just go uncontested like that, they're just going to be able to hit shots. And Stormy did something Kraken to try to clear the space and put the rush in there. I don't think, no, it doesn't look like they were able to really find the value. Aurora got stopped short there. Stormy manages to grab the clam and get back out. Unfortunately, just throwing another set of specials kind of into the fire to nothing. 2 minutes, not a single tick on the board.
This is wild so far. I mean, we are starting to flirt with this idea that this could be a one-score game. If neither team can score in these next 2 minutes, we will get up to 3 minutes of overtime until somebody scores. And so far, it looks like Tidal Tempest is starting to make a move forward if they can just find the picks their way, but no, they're gonna go 2 down plus the jump out. They are gonna send a full-on retreat, and now Aurora once again back in control of mid. Stormy gonna be the one to hold on to this power clamp, trying to see if they can find a couple more picks. They do. That's gonna be the heavy edit going down. That's gonna open the way for Pocky to get control of these grates on the top right side, see if they can make some full progress. Gonna be throwing out that cooler, but no, retaliated by the trip strikes. And with a minute to play, Aurora right there by the basket, but no, they're gonna drop this power clamp. Stormy gonna lead the way for their teammate to get in there, and no, they missed it again!
Oh, Stormy, and tries to pick it up again and gets sanded by the killer whale. A jump coming back, but no, Square has to get R out of this. This is 2 very defensive squads here pushing into the last one. Another pick onto Aurora. 45 seconds, I mean, it's time, DRF. This is going to come down to a single pick, and Aurora is 0 for 4 on attempts right now. Tidal Tempest just need one good push here. They have 2 specials online, and they should be able to push through this if they get an opening pick with this triple strike.
Oh, the trip strikes were a little bit early, in my opinion. It's still even numbers, and they really need to figure out a way to deal with me. But here it comes. Here's the who else but Stormy with a 1-2 punch by themselves to lead the wipe out against Tidal Tempest. And here comes the retaliation. The power clamp is scored by Square. Alas, the late lead. This will I was gonna say it might result in overtime, but no, that wasn't a lead change. It was still tied. So the conditions of the game allow Aurora to close that out with the 1 power clamp score with 5 seconds left. What a just tumultuous game, Soev. What on earth did we watch?
So what we watched was essentially 2 turtles slowly headbutting each other, which sounds incredibly weird, but stay with me on this. Both teams are very defensive-minded, and that means Stormy just sitting in the back and constantly getting picks, and trying to also set up on the other side for Tidal Tempest the heavy edit into a position, but neither team really able to set up any sort of set plays that were put together specials or any sort of win condition for them to get in until that last pick. So both teams were just kind of forced to turtle up and play defensively and make sure that they had their backline carry able to do the work until Aurora was able to take that wipeout and really kind of pulled it forward. So great recognition that they had the advantage there. It does bring Tidal Tempest down to, unfortunately, now defeated, but Aurora goes on undefeated into Hagglefish Market, where, again, it's a big map. You can get value out of these longer sightlines, and now that we're in tower control, it's so much slower, so this plays into both teams' hands.
Yeah, it certainly does. So we'll have to see what happens in this next game, because I don't really even know what to anticipate after that first game. Like, there was just so many clutch defensive stops, around that, very centralized choke point. So with Hagglefish Mark, like you said, it's a lot more open. So I'm going to be interested to see what sort of comp adjustments get made here, and to see if, we're going to be continuing to see those types of clutch stops, which I guess, the choke point is just the objective itself. But that is a Hydra that we are.
Jumps are back from Aurora, so they'll get it even closer to a knockout.
They will, despite the numbers disadvantage. Finally gonna get flanked there to shut down this push halfway through the final checkpoint. Tidal Tempest now has a lot of ground to make up, but they do have 3 specials at the ready to try to make it happen, starting with the cooler on the heavy edit, and now the 52 is going to be able to get that killer whale to fight alongside them. So they have a lot of tools to work with, but can they convert that into points? Because so far, they just have neutralized the tower, and they've used all of their specials already.
Yeah, I was saying, unfortunately, they ended just using them all to get back to neutral, like you had said. So now their suddenly push just becomes dead because they are not winning in the neutral. When it comes to just ink on ink, they have not been winning many fights. I say this, and well, they want to prove me wrong. Tidal Tempest is trying to at least show me that they can do it, but the cart does go back their way, so Aurora gets control of the tower again, and it's going to be even an, oh my gosh, that's such an early cooler. I'm not sold on that.
Yeah, it definitely could be a little bit tricky, but it could be an opportunity to try and, more definitively push back, but this tower continues to creep forward. Finally going to get a little bit of a stop here as Rocky is going to be forced all the way back. The 52 going to go and try to fight them, and they will find the pick. That is exactly what Tidal Tempest needs. And now they could start to push forward. The wall going to be helping them to keep control of that top left side, see if they can finally pick off that Hydra. And this tower continues to move forward. Cooler on the tower as well to provide a little bit of extra protection. It's going to be a 2-on-1 situation for the 52 Gal, able to stall enough to help their teammates take advantage of the 3v2 on the other side of the map. This first checkpoint slowly being chipped away, and they do clear it. So we might start to have a game on our hands as Tidal Tempest continues to make this push work.
It's getting there. All the space control specials that Tidal Tempest have finally gotten value and they've been, as it's helping them to win the fights. Aurora and Pocky here in particular does finally sneak up from the back and get control of the tower here in the last minute, but that's a decent enough push away that if Tidal Tempest come back and throw another haymaker, they get a few picks and they commit a special into this, they can get control back and force overtime. Aurora need to really make sure they get some sort of pick value here if they want to close out the game.
Absolutely, as Tidal Tempest does get the stagger. It's just Stormy waiting for that charge to expire. Finally does so. Able to push Stormy back up onto the ramp, but Plano not in an advantageous situation. They're going to be pinched by the double Splatling. 13 seconds to play, and Aurora has moved back into sight of that tower, able to put up this defensive front. Can Tidal Tempest get on the tower in time? No, it will not happen. They struggle to get back on the tower, and Aurora will clinch the set 2-0. But of course, Game 3 is still an opportunity to get ahead in those tiebreakers.
Yeah, say with how big this pool is, every game really does matter. Even if you lose the set, it's still better to go in Swiss, 2-1. So Robo Ramen is going to be incredibly important for a team like Tidal Tempest, who came into this undefeated. They 3-0 swept their first round. So if they want to kind of keep themselves in contention for a day 2, they need to sneak out every single win here. Like we had kind of said in the beginning, you can kind of lose a couple of rounds to warm-ups, but once you start getting into, the back half of the day, it becomes really, really important that you be able to close out these sets or at least steal a game in a 2-1 fashion.
Certainly. So still a lot to play for heading into Splat Zone's Robo Ramen. For Tidal Tempest, so far it just seems like they haven't had quite the answer for the range that Aurora has committed to. They do have like the trip strikes, that can help counter it. And I thought that their cooler play, was fine in that last one. But I think they need to commit a few more resources, really ahead of them, in order to, capitalize on opportunities and be able to really push those backlines around. And we just haven't quite seen that yet.
Oh, agreed. I think what we really need to see out of Tidal Tempest is someone just kind of be unafraid and take that flank. Stormy has gotten so much value from this backline. It has literally just been a clip reel in regards to Stormy's play with how good they're looking. If someone can even just take a brush and just get any sort of pressure onto the backline as opposed to trying to force like a backline duel or win out by specials, it would just do so much work for the side of Tidal Tempest. But for now, it is going to be a few changes. There's going to be a pencil coming in, and Stormy's back onto that E leader. So this is, I mean, if Stormy has another pop-up performance with this E leader again, it's just kind of over.
Honestly, yeah. But I do really like Nessa switching over to the pencil.
Yes.
I think that that's going to probably be their best bet, is to fight the range with range, and be able to possibly get these cools out maybe just a smidge faster.
Yes.
So I am a big fan of this adjustment, even if it is very meta. So nonetheless, I think it's going to give them an opportunity, as Aurora is the first to take claim to the zone, but that sprinkler from Tidal Tempest is going to make it hard to maintain consistent control, as nobody has dealt with the sprinkler yet. Finally, the ink strikes are what going to get rid of that sprinkler, but I think Tidal Tempest is going to be very annoying with that.
I mean, yeah, but I think you're fine with that. Like, that's just one of those knowing the map, and sometimes that knowledge is enough to get you going now that Tidal Tempest has control. Sometimes it's just knowing what your map, what you can do on the map and how to take advantage of it fully is such a huge thing. So Plano also over with this blaster, I think, is a huge change of pace. You have so much range to play around all this utility and put pressure on Stormy. That's what I wanted to see out of them. They'll get, oh wow, what a pick.
Right in the nick of time to be able to get that pick. You could not have, I guess, gotten that pick any later, as Aurora will use that as an opportunity to flip the zone back in their favor and start working through some of this penalty. But nonetheless, Tidal Tempest doing a great job of playing around these walls right now, just staying out of sight as much as possible, and now able to get the full offensive front moving. That is 3 down on the side of Aurora, and Jupex now holding down the front lines, able to get just keep putting ink down, make it as difficult as possible for Aurora to move back in, but nonetheless going to be conceding that elbow now, as Aurora inches closer, seeing if they can try to flip the zone before they lose the lead. Nonetheless, it will flip in Tidal Tempest's favor, but I think Aurora's going to be okay with that. We're still early enough in this game that is okay. Just focus on getting back in a more convincing fashion, but that's going to be a struggle as they go 3 down, so
yeah, that's a wipeout, clearing that out. So Tidal Tempest in the final match finally showing a little bit of place, and they're even going to send in the Killer Whale to try to get one of those last picks. This is that aggression we've really not seen out of them all match so far, and it really kind of makes me wonder what might have been if they were this aggressive sooner. Look at them just straight up chasing these kills, and Lugian is just going in, chasing these kills down, and that's the fearlessness I wanted to see out of this team that's really going to give them some sort of advantage here. That buys you so much more time onto the zone that now suddenly Aurora has so much space to do, and they're still getting pressure, DRF.
They are. Like, this is just a whole different Tidal Tempest team in this moment, as the zone gets neutralized yet again, but they get pinched once again, and finally the trip strikes force the zone flip, as Stormy is once again going to trade out. It is an absolute ink bath in the zone right now, as players just struggling to stay alive, and Aurora finally gets a grasp of the zone and is trying to match the energy that Tidal Tempest threw their way.
It's been a tough energy to match, though, because now they have to commit so many more specials into this, and this isn't the greatest map for these kinds of for some of these weapons here. The Nautilus in particular can't necessarily get a lot of the range they're looking for, and that's what Tidal Tempest has done. They've just recognized we can just take the angles we have and pressure it out. We'll get control of the zone again, and now in the last minute, it's just kind of like, look, let's just play for control. Let's burn out the time. Let's not give them the chance to burn down this clock. If we only need to bring it to one more flip, they can win. But Aurora is getting aggressive here.
They are. 50 seconds to go. The trip strikes out, trying to push Tidal Tempest back and put them away into their own spawn, and that is effectively a delayed wipe, as everybody from Tidal Tempest is coming out of the espresso machines 20 ticks before the lead flips. as Tidal Tempest has a couple of specials at the ready, but can they take advantage of them? Yes, they do. I don't even know how they got enough ink on the zone. It did not even seem like their attention was directly at the zone. Wow, what a flip. 15 seconds to go, and it looks like Tidal Tempest is on the cusp of taking game 3.
Yeah, the one remains is a trade out at the end in the last 8 seconds. It's Stormy just trying to apply any sort of pressure here. A triple ink strike comes down, and I think that's a seal it. That's over at this point. Tidal Tempest, they don't leave the round empty-handed. And you know what? I think if we had seen this a little bit sooner, this could have been a whole different match. So I'm sure if you are coming up against them in round 3, you need to be afraid of Tidal Tempest. They have that dog in them.
They certainly do. Especially, you know, how close the first couple of games were. It seemed like we were just waiting for a breakout moment for Tidal Tempest. And, you know, it unfortunately came later than what they would have liked. But they did find it nonetheless, and I think there's still a lot of value in it. Like you said, it's very momentum based. So going into this next round, they should have a little bit more confidence to push them through. So I'm excited to see how both of these teams continue to progress through the Swiss stage.
Aurora in particular, I'm also very impressed by. Stormy just played phenomenally well across all 3, and that is one of those kinds of positions where you're very boom or bust, right? Like if you are left alone and you're able to hit all your shots like Stormy was able to do there, you can just kind of clean up these maps. It's very easy to. So against a different team, I would be very curious to see how Aurora does. Maybe we'll be able to check in on him down the road or see him in day 2. But you know, I think the lesson that Tidal Tempest can take away from this is we can't let these backline snipers dictate the game. We need to get pressure onto them because otherwise you will just unfortunately give up the maps like that.
Absolutely. And as we start to wrap this set up, we are getting a couple of words from our production team in terms of, you know, Stormy, I think so if you would agree, was definitely our standout player on the production end. Went 15-2 in that first game on Clamblit's crab leg. So, I mean, it felt like Stormy was just getting everything and anything that they wanted. It felt like every one of those picks was very consequential.
Oh, yeah. Everything definitely was impactful amongst that. And like I said, you need to make sure you get some sort of pressure onto those backliners, especially in low ink, where, you know, the team play maybe needs a little is learning and coming together, where we're not necessarily just winning based on mechanics or control of the map. Sometimes it's just as simple as we can't let the player who is hot just have their way with us.
Pretty much. Well, a very exciting round 2 to add on to what was already an exciting round 1. So I hope we can keep this momentum going. I mean, the standard is sky high for whatever teams fall into the laps of our streamer in round 3 to put on a show, but I'm going to be looking forward to it. So that match should be coming your way in just a few moments. So we'll go ahead and take just a small break as we get that one ready for you all. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Lowing January 2025. I am DRF, once again joined by Soev to bring you round 3 of some exciting Lowing action. We have a good one for you all. It is going to be Magic Beans taking on Event Horizon.
Yeah, interestingly, we were discussing the kind of positioning here because it's 2 1-1 squads, both initially kind of seeded around, like the early 20s, middle of the pack. So, on paper, this should be a very, very close match, DRF, and I'm very interested to see how that pans out. Considering we are going to jump right in immediately, we'll get a look at these squads, and that is a blaster you don't see a lot of. Channeling our inner Chara here is powerful.
Yeah, alongside the Wellstring for some very quick pops. Probably the only game that they will be playing Wellstring in this set, because there you go. That is exactly why you played a Wellstring, to get the frame 1 pop and early map control of mid, as Event Horizon is going to be trying to contest and counter the early ink that came out of Magic Beans. But Nutella is going to be taking the 2v1 here, but not going to be able to win that one out. And now the push from Event Horizon can commence with that staggered 3 down.
Yeah, and I was watching the Decapitator there because the Decapitator with now special up, I'm looking at that to be the aggressive weapon for Event Horizon. They didn't quite, they kind of fell a little bit short. That was a very, very delayed bubble. It is enough to get them through the checkpoint, and that might be enough of a win condition on its own. Waffle's going to go in for that, but eventually get punished for it, because Crazy is looking for the rest of those picks, but that might be enough on that first pop. This is a difficult map since the changes to really kind of push through. So now the question becomes, how do you get it towards this middle part if you are Event Horizon? And it has to start with Waffle just deciding to carry.
Oh, what a play there by Waffle. That could have and should have been a Magic Beans push to start getting points on the board. And Waffle just comes through and says, hey, I'm going to create a bit of a distraction here to completely deviate your attention and prevent any sort of push and add points to the board. And look at what happens now. No points on the board for Magic Beans in the response push. They just could not get anything going, as they had to put so much time and effort into shutting down that push. And that's why plays like that are so exciting.
Yeah, it's so exciting to see those kinds of things. It will be a reset to the Rainmaker, pushing it back to center. But like you said, that's what makes it so exciting, is just stealing a little bit more and kind of taking advantage of a team that maybe caught tripping a little bit there, maybe caught lacking, because Magic Beans right now are kind of just chasing down the kills. You can see they're not really playing for the objective right now, and they're just trying to focus on getting a full numbers advantage before doing anything like that. So for Magic Beans, this is a tough spot to be in. You kind of don't win versus this quicker, aggressive comp out of Event Horizon. So you have to win by forcing errors.
Absolutely. I mean, Magic Beans is doing what they can with the cooler on their side as well to try to match the pace being set by Event Horizon, but just have not found much success yet. As Yoshido is going to be trying to actually create some distractions on the right side to get their team to navigate towards that first checkpoint on the left side. And the trip strikes coming through now to delay this push even more. But Nutella, very patient with the Rainmaker, finally going to get the dunk down as their teammates hold forward. I mean, Crazy was just holding down the front line on their own to enable their team to get this first checkpoint. And now comes the moment of truth. Will they convert this into a lead change?
They're looking for it, but they're going to get up the space instead. Magic Beans does eventually get forced back. There's the Rainmaker. Nutella is going, and they get the lead just enough at 28 to beat past 33. And it's also in an odd position. Crazy's going to drop the Booyah Bomb, and that's a great distraction. What a great set play to get them across the line for Magic Beans. That is a great call in comms.
Yeah, I mean, that Rainmaker was popped so quickly because Wellstring Bow, baby. That's why you pull that thing out. And they once they finally got their footing there, they really built up a lot of momentum pretty quickly. I mean, like, look at this push here. As soon as they clear that first checkpoint, it's a frame 1 pop, and now all they had to do was just continue to hold their position. As soon as they got 2 down here, I think that was their cue. Yeah. Hey, we've got to go with this, and we can get the lead.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see the pick there. It does pop immediately, but that was a great call from Crazy just to say, look, we have the advantage. We understand what our comp does. Let's just get ourselves a protected lane to get this through, because particularly on this map, it is so hard to close it out when your lane to kind of move the Rainmaker through is so small. I mean, we could have talked about that map and just the intricacies of that forever, but we got to go on. It's Splat Zones on Ship-Shaped Cargo. Similar kind of a map. Look, pretty big, pretty wide, lots of different ways to approach this. So I don't know, DRF, that we're going to see a lot of changes other than the Wellspring, and I think the Wellspring being gone doesn't really tell us what they're going to pick up instead.
Yeah, it's definitely really tricky unless you particularly know these teams and what they tend to bring out as well. Looking into it, Yoshido does have pencil and heavy edit, and then the tri-stringer in their pocket. So it's really could be a number of different things that they ultimately pivot towards. So we will have to wait and see, because it'll definitely, or most definitely, be one of those types of weapons. Obviously pencil and heavy edit being the two staple backlines in this game. So probably going to be what we see a pivot towards, but hey, we'll get that answered here in just a quick second. So let's take a look at these compositions.
I was going to say, I wouldn't be shocked if we didn't see... Okay, pencil came out, which makes sense to me. But we did see a change of the dualies and quite a lot of changes on the side of Magic Beans. So their flexibility, really trying to lean into that as a means to their success. And I respect that. Sometimes you win by just out mechanicking. Sometimes you can win by just sometimes you can win by weapon select.
Yeah, and we are already seeing Yoshido just turn on the jets and be ultra aggressive. They do trade out there, but Magic Beans does get control of the zone, and it is just going to be a hotly contested zone early on as both teams struggling to get control here. But with this trip strikes, this is going to allow Event Horizon to move in and start getting a couple picks. But they're going to be countered with some trip strikes on the side of Magic Beans, and it is just chaos now as Magic Beans, I think, is crazy slipped through the initial trip strikes to get an aggressive position here, and is now paying off as they find two big picks there, hunting for the third on Waffle, but Waffle is going to retaliate.
Waffle on this Decapitator has been very, very good, but unfortunately just not getting the support from I feel like the rest of the team for when they go deep enough. There's not usually someone to help kind of lead in and back them up when they take these flanks. I like this move as a unit to the high ground, though. Event Horizon should be able to find some value. They'll find a pick, make that two, and Waffle, again, there's what I'm talking about. Now that they have the high ground, Waffle should have a little bit more free space to go in and harass these backlines of Magic Beans. This is a great spot to be in at 3 minutes and 30.
It certainly is. Lead in your favor, momentum behind you, as now if they can shut down this crab, I mean, Magic Beans has a couple of specials to work with, so Yoshido's going to be forced into ball formation here, trying to just out-duel Velvet, is going to win that one out, but look at how much time was wasted. This zone is on the cusp now of getting into some dangerous territory, finally going to get the neutral, but Event Horizon holds on to it with the trip strikes. Oh, this is going to be close for Magic Beans to try to flip this one back in their favor. They're going to have to go off of these trip strikes.
No, the trip strikes
are off. They missed. Oh, disaster for Event Horizon as Magic Beans clinches. Oh, sorry, the other way around. Yes, disaster for Magic Beans as Event Horizon clinches this one out.
I mean, Magic Beans just felt like they were kind of pushed back and then caught off guard. It's kind of that feeling of you're stumbling, you're falling, and you're trying to recover, and you're trying to recover, and you're still not recovered. Because like you had said, Event Horizon really just kind of got control after this initial skirmishes and never really lost it. They took control of this high ground they had set up very, very well. And then once the Decapitator got into position to kind of, control in the background, and once those frontline players really got into position to, deny the space, just an entirely different team out of Event Horizon. Maybe they're just not a Rainmaker team. Maybe they just also are a team that don't like Undertow, but this was an entirely different game. Museum for Clams suddenly looks like a very big question mark, I think, for both of these teams, who are now 1-1 in overall and 1-1 here. I don't really know which way this is going to go. That was such a dominant showing from the side of Event Horizon. I think this is almost a coin flip.
Almost. I think to kind of, feed into your debate here, I really do like the way that Event Horizon's been playing. I mean, in game 1, the first half was all Event Horizon.
True.
Like we were, very critical of Magic Beans as we were trying to figure out, what was going wrong for them. I mean, Event Horizon seemed like that they just had full control. So, as we kind of look towards game number 3, part of me's leaning just a little bit towards Event Horizon because I think we've seen, some big flashes of brilliance out of them.
Yeah.
And it's so far been up to Magic Beans to respond to how Event Horizon's been playing. So, of course, with Museum being the one that's on deck here, that is a very tricky map mode combination to have, firm dominance on. So I do think that this still can go either way because it's so hard to get like a for sure, lockout here. And I think Magic Beans does a really good job of responding.
Yes.
So there's going to be big opportunities for both of these teams.
I think that was a... Hold on, was that? Yes, it was. I was going to say, I wasn't expecting the triple shot there from Town, so really just kind of almost searching for an answer. Yoshido now on the duels, and crazy over... it just feels like the flexibility from these players are so different from Magic Beans, yeah, that they're just kind of trying to find whatever they can that will win the mode. But Waffle absolutely in deep just crushes the path immediately, even versus this quick cooler. Like, that's already a clam in. We are already, we're half a minute in, and already we have a clam plus extra in DRF.
Yeah, that is... If you want a convincing opening push,
yeah,
I mean, that's kind of how you show it. Because to score that quickly on Museum Clam Blitz is not an easy feat in the slightest. So they do get a 1+3. So given how quick that push was, you almost kind of expect it to just be a somewhat low-scoring push, but it almost seemed like that they were in a position to keep that one going. But nonetheless, Magic Beans, like we've said, has done an excellent job of responding, and they're going to get the opportunity to do so now. 15 clams in their pockets, plus the killer whales that are going to initiate this push, but the trip strikes are there to respond and try to hold back the members of Magic Beans. Can they hold on here? It looks like Magic Beans is on the cusp here of a score, and they will get it if Crazy could just slip through. No! A big shutdown by Waffle.
Yeah, Waffle has come to life in these past 2 games, and it was a great opening for Magic Beans. They just, unfortunately, they would say they didn't push through quick enough, but now they get the break, but there has to be follow-up. Velvet is the next to fall, and Yoshido is going large there. Eventually is able to finally get shut down, but there wasn't enough pressure. Town couldn't really get that, couldn't get any more clams in, so that 20 is going to have to be enough. Event Horizon now with the clam lead. I mean... Magic Beans does have a little bit of hands on their side, but really that was a little bit slow to react. I don't even think they were expecting to get that push there.
Yeah, I think there was probably a little bit of miscommunication just based off of the way that they were moving around there. It just seemed like that once the Crazy went down with the power clamp, they were trying to figure out if they were going to keep this push going or not. But nonetheless, now they are on the defensive here. Town picking up this power clamp, trying to hold back the rush of Event Horizon as the trip strikes out once again, trying to lead the charge, but that's going to be 2 members down on the side of Event Horizon. They're going to be forced to retreat here. Sniper trying to get out of the way, but no, is going to get shut down. A great pick there to prevent the recall. And now this is an opportunity. Oh, Crazy somehow getting up there with the Zipcaster and is now causing chaos. Oh, this is just... I mean, chaos is what's going on, so
yeah, there's a lot to process here. Magic Beans had a decent push there. They recognized they were 2 up, but they never really got the chance to take a full advantage of it. And it needed to, unfortunately, they tried to hold the space, but everything. I saw a break there. They did get it. I'm sorry, Beans did get it in because it looks like somewhere in the midst of everything, they managed to sneak back in while the tension was pulled. They've done very well at surviving in this chaos, and it does get them to a lead point. So Magic Beans just... Look, they're deciding to not win by playing Clam Blitz. They're just going to win it in a more deathmatchy situation here.
Yeah, it's going to be just a couple of little pushes that ultimately win this game for either side. I don't think we're at a stage anymore where teams are trying to necessarily build up for these massive pushes. I mean, yes, obviously that's what they would like, but nobody's in the position to make that happen, as Event Horizon is going to claim back the lead. Sniper coming with a power climb of their own, that's going to fall just short, but Velvet's going to pick this one up, and Squid Roll to get in position to score, and now they have broken this game open right as I was saying that we aren't going to be seeing any big pushes anymore, but 2 power clams is big in the context of this game. And now Magic Beans has some work to do. They are going to need at least 2 power clams to get back the lead.
And in 30 seconds, that may not happen. They're gifted 1, but they really need to get the control of the clam economy, and they are just behind in it right now. Event Horizon did pop cooler here. They know they just have to play defensively in this last 30 seconds to win this out. Just deny the clam, and you can see it. There goes the clam for Magic Beans. They managed to get it back and send it back, but it's not going to be enough. They're not really going to be in a position. It'll force overtime here. And they still don't have a second clam to get the win out of it. A lot of pressure on the line here for Magic Beans.
5 seconds to play. We will get overtime. That's going to buy an additional 20 seconds for Magic Beans to make something happen. It is a 3v3. Yoshido on the crab, trying to find a pick, getting some jumps in for their teammates, able to do so. Crazy on the back lines, and they do score a power clam. Is there a follow-up though? Crazy trying to get some sort of picks here. Nutella coming up with a couple of small clams, able to do so. Yoshido jumping in, but no, the stagger is shut down, and Magic Beans is gonna fall short as Event Horizon clutches the victory in the 3rd thrilling set in a row here in day 1 of Low Ink.
Wild game of Clam Blitz there. Not what you really expect in regards to, you know, set plays and setting up for successes, pushes that really end with a lot of teamwork, but just impressive recoveries from both teams. Magic Beans in particular, you know, they maybe didn't take the set, but they definitely showed that they have so much potential in the setups of their plays, whether it's just, you know, making their opponents turn their heads between Crazy getting in very, very deep, or, you know, other players just kind of stealing a lot of these backlines like Yoshido, but just phenomenally making pressure everywhere across the map. But Event Horizon really kind of seemed to know what they needed to do to win. They really seemed to not kind of buy into this play the whole map, or, you know, get distracted too much. They might have fallen for an instance, but when the pressure was on, they really kind of decided, look, we know we need to get a point in, and we know our fundamentals for Clam Blitz. Let's just, you know, get in there, set each other up for success, and get clams in the basket.
Yeah, I really don't know how else to summarize, you know, the past 9 games.
Yeah.
Other than that, it has been a treat so far. If this is what is foreshadowing the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend, yeah. I think we are in for hopefully legendary Low Ink. But, you know, of course, this is just a very small snapshot that we've gotten to the privilege to commentate over today, Soav.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, this is my first Low Ink, and to see this level of talent and intense gameplay here, I think is just wild and speaks so much about all of the players within this. With 2 days, like you had said, to go, it is not going to be one you can miss. We are kicking off the first Low Ink of 2025 in a phenomenal fashion, DRF.
Certainly, but nonetheless, that is going to do it for our time here. We will be getting Hypercube and Keone to take you through the back half of day 1. But let's go ahead and close this one out. So go ahead and plug yourself. Where can the people of our chat find you?
Primarily nowadays, I'm on Twitter. Occasionally, I show up on Twitch playing various team games, sometimes Splatoon, sometimes Overwatch, sometimes just whatever, but I'm pretty inactive on the Twitching nowadays, but you'll see me doing all kinds of commentary for all kinds of games if you just follow on the old X or Twitch or whatever you want to call it. What about you, DRF? We all know where you live for the most part in Splatoon world, but where else can we find you when you're not running, you know, this incredible collegiate scene?
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, you can go ahead and find me on Twitter at DRF_Splatoon, on Blue Sky, DRF-Splatoon, Twitch, Triton DRF, but per usual, you can find me over at the CCA covering all things collegiate Splatoon. Thank you all so much for sticking with us through the first half of day one. Kyon and Hypercube will take you through the back half. You are not going to want to miss it.
Phrase is the phrase. Now, you ready to meet those godfathers?
Yeah, I guess.
Hey, Peter, this is it.
Hey, who are you?
Hey, Providence, this is Peter's Whirly Bird Griffin coming at you on a sizzling Sunday afternoon. Here we go.
Wait a minute. You're the son from Koha.
Come to me today.
Don Imus.
Rutgers basketball team, black and
That's a rep the dime. The scariest Don of them all. Sit down, Don.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce you all to my suspected son.
I'm glad that you finally decided to play ball with us. Let me introduce you to the unknowns. Don Duck, Don Pecan, Don Amnesia, Don Wannabe, the land Don Under.
All right, this week is watchable. Every week it's very watchable. Damn it, there. You have to say it exactly.
Fine. Laugh out loud funny.
You're all under arrest. Good job, Peter.
And see the guy says, oh, I thought you were complaining about your angina. You haven't told us the beginning to that joke.
Hey, Peter, the meeting's almost over. Just keep your cover.
Hey, anybody want to do karaoke after this? Sure, I can use the mic in case of my chest.
Peter, no.
douchebag!
He's yours.
You stay right there.
He's yours.
God damn it! This is like the most terrifying game I've ever played. Gonna pop out at me. He's going. Okay, he's gonna alternate between the two places. It's fine. Friends, I'm moving. See where I am. You're not near me. Come on.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the first Low Ink of 2025. Yes, the January 2025 Low Ink is resuming on. It is not just me. I have somebody else with me. But either way, my name is Kyon. I am joined by the six-pack yolks person themselves. It is Hypercube. Hype, how are you doing, by the way?
I am doing great. Hello, everyone. It is your honorable mention for Captain of the Year for the #1 most wholesome team of the year, Six-Pack Yolks, Hypercube here. I'm doing okay. This is my first commentary gig online for something that's not Chai Shoals, so I'm very excited to be here. How have you been feeling about the game so far?
It's been very intriguing to watch the first 3 rounds so far, and now but hey, most Low Ink teams, of course, are going through the gauntlet of the 6 rounds. Which, by the way, we got the 2 teams on screen for round number 4. This is, of course, the part where the records that you have will dictate potentially where your brackets would be. It's Milk Rain versus Turn Left. By the way, huge shoutouts to Lepis, the Low Ink TO player who's on Turn Left with their team. And we also got Milk Rain on the other side. Should be a fun matchup coming up. Hype rather. How excited are you to commentate this matchup?
Well, I'm so excited. What is the set wins for both of them? I assume they're even, right? We're far enough along that they're probably pretty evenly matched.
Yeah, especially with Swiss, and you might have had some familiarity with, of course, these Swiss formats, but we'll get to that here in a bit. We'll hold on to that thought because we are about to cast the first matchup here. Of course, first map will be on Fabled Inkblot TC for everybody. Milk Rain's on the Alpha side. The Bravo side is to Turn Left. We take a look at the weapons, and of course, Lepis is on their Hydra. No surprises to that one. I also see the S Blast there with that Booyah Bomb as well. Other side for Milk Rain, almost you see that pencil, the Splat Dualies, Neo Splash, and the Range Blaster. Anything that sticks out to you, by the way, Hype, as this match plays right along?
Well, hey, I always love to see the Hydra representation. I tried to push it early on, but I can't lie, I'm a D9 player. Oh, wow, look, we are already 2 down. Hydra standing strong, holding the tower, which is what it's great for. We love to see it.
And the big thing here with that Hydra, of course, is, you know, to holding on to that tower firm, able to get to that first checkpoint, no problem there. Of course, being stalled by Milk Rain's defenses. As we do get to see, the pencil did go down from earlier. Milk Rain's at least able to win out a few of their fights, and Turn Left only able to cash in on 20 points or the first and not quite break through the first checkpoint. Excuse me here. Game still going right along, about a minute into the match here. Hype.
That's great. We see the Booyah coming out. We see a couple of specials, but really it's kind of anyone's game. I mean, we haven't even broke through the first check. We have 2 specials on the side of Milk Rain, and we almost had 1 on the side of Turn Left, but their tent went down. We're seeing the soda coming out. I'm excited to see the push that they have here. We got a blaster duel and winning on the side of Milk Rain, and watching them take the tower.
Yeah, and Milk Rain able to position themselves in good places there. Turn Left was just trying to respond as much as they could, but to no success there. But Rainy with that 10 umbrella as well, but not able to find the pick by the end of that one. And we're seeing so far, Hype, kind of this neutral game kind of just playing out there. This could still be the opportunity for Turn Left, though, as they take 3 members out just like that. And Nene is moving up ahead, now entering the bats here in Inkblot, and looking to find the surprise pick, and it's going to get shut down there, Hype.
No, we love to see the bats. You gotta hold bats on Inkblot TC, the counter pick of all time. I know we're in Swiss, no counter picks, but oh well, we have the Booyah, and it does take you off tower, and wow, luckily they are able to jump back. I always appreciate the ability for a backline to jump back and keep themselves safe, but then they jump back in to take the tower, which leaves them 1 down on the side of Turn Left as the tower heads back to mid.
You know, I do appreciate recognizing having to escape and then finding the next opportunity to jump back in, but of course not much to any avail there from Turn Left, as we do get to see once again both teams suck into the neutral state. And you highlighted there 2 earlier, Hype, with the bats being very hard to take here in the Fabled Inkblot TC map. That of course Turn Left not able to get through that second checkpoint, only getting stalled at the ramp. So Milk Rain though still have a lot of time left on the clock there. They got 2 specials to work with here, Hype, as both teams kind of still trying to figure each other out and still trying to figure out when the next push starts.
Yeah, and you know, I was gonna say, listen, I know 3 minutes are down, we have 2 minutes left. It doesn't look great on the side of Milk Rain, only having 2 points, but really Turn Left is only taking the first check, and once you get past that first check, if you can take bats, I mean, you can hold it long enough to get a substantial push. But as soon as I was thinking that, 2 went down on the side of Milk Rain, but now it's looking pretty even. Turn Left is 2 down now, but 3 down now, with 2 down on the side of Milk Rain, but they are still holding their bats, which is very important as they're trying to break through that check.
And the big thing here for Milk Rain is still holding on to that second checkpoint as much as possible, because again, that second checkpoint being notoriously hard to get there, as we do get to see Bubbles with that range maker just taking out Nene, who was just trying to find a few more picks by themselves and to no success. And Milk Rain actually still honestly has a lot of time to work with a minute 15, especially with the fact that Turn Left has not broken through the second checkpoint quite yet. Minute and 9 seconds left to go on our clock, and Turn Left still has lead, but it's not a strong lead at this stage here, Hype.
No, we're seeing the specials come out, we're seeing the crowd, but we are seeing a pick on the Hydra. Shout out Lepus to a Hydra win. It is now 3-3 on this, well, I mean, pretty even. So it's still really anyone's game. I mean, all they have to do is take it to that second checkpoint, because I don't even think, it doesn't even look like Turn Left has gotten it all the way to the second checkpoint, so they just need to hold it there for just a second. There's 2 specials on the side of Turn Left, though, and we see the strikes coming up on the side of Milk Rain. 30 seconds left, and of course, hey, there's always overtime, as the first team I was ever on said. That's our title. There's always overtime. But it is, and with 2 down on the side of Turn Left, it's looking pretty good for Milk Rain here as they're trying to make a push.
One last push left to go. 20 seconds left to go on the clock. They do lose that range blaster. Them Phobos had in store, but still holding the tower just long enough. The trip strikes were used to clear out the space. They gotta get somebody through, and they're sending 2 members onto this onslaught with the 10 umbrella there. But there is 2 members down, with Phobos getting the pick as the crab tank is starting to lurk large. 2 members down on both sides. Who's gonna ride the tower to the finish line? And it's gonna be Milk Rain, and gets it through. The lead has changed hands in overtime, and Milk Rain wrestles it back to take home game 1 there, Hype.
That is crazy. That is bonkers. Hey, I think that blaster pick, I was worried when I saw them jump, or I guess fall back to mid, not taking plat. And, you know, we were talking about how important bats are, and it didn't seem like they were really taking their bats at all, but they had just enough pressure to take it just to that check.
Yeah, and this was the replay there. I think it's safe to say here, Hype, there was almost a lot of things that were playing out here, especially when you note the special usage. Trip strikes again, dueling trip strikes actually from the Neo Splash and the Tenotech trying to outdo each other. And this is kind of the play there. I was wondering that could make a difference there. That Tenebrillo and the Hydra going down, and then yeah, you had 2 members down, but that's when Milk Rain had control of the tower. And as you noted, with the second checkpoint not quite cleared earlier, Milk Rain was able to wrestle that home through, and I noted a lot of time left on the clock. That lead wasn't safe.
No, not at all. I mean, truthfully, kind of a low-scoring game. I mean, maybe that's just because I kind of always get, this is not my favorite map pick, if I'm being for real. I feel like I always get snowballed on this map, so this feels like a low-scoring game, but I don't really think necessarily that. I mean, if you can defend your bats, and the other team can defend their bats, it's not like either team is getting a lot of points on the board, which is what we saw here. It didn't seem like anyone successfully held the other team's bats for any amount of time to make a push larger than the second checkpoint.
All right, Hype, I'm gonna toss you over to this one because you got Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker for game 2. Of course, Milk Rain gonna be up 1-0. Knowing you in the 6-pack, you'll probably have been playing some Humpback Rainmaker in the past. Anything you kind of get a sense for with both these teams, and of course your experience playing on this map combination alone.
Yeah, so my thought as a Splatling player, seeing a Splatling player, is that I kind of hate this map for Splatlings, right? This map, truthfully, there's a lot of difficulty for anything that shoots in a straight line, so the blaster pick is going to be great here. I feel like buckets are a great pick here, but anything that can play around the humps on the hump back is going to be great, which does make it pretty difficult for something that shoots straights, like a Splatling. And
if we take a look at the weapon setups, it's exactly what you noted there too. There are no Splatlings available, so it was the right call. And Lepus actually switching over to the wall string with that Wavebreaker. That's the main change that we do.
And the nice arc that goes over the humps. It's a great pick, especially for popping that Rainmaker, and we do see that they get the pop here.
And the other thing to quickly note as well, Milk Rain also dishing up the V Junior on top of it with the bubble that's available. So a lot of vanilla weapons actually from Milk Rain. So it's going to be intriguing to see how this map is going to play out here. Hype, anything that you can gather here as the Rainmaker's been popped.
Oh, I mean, we're already 2 down on the side of turn left. I mean, they get the pop, but they can't get the picks, and we have, oh, and a double with the Zuka! Crazy, holding it. They don't get the first check, even though they get 3 down, and we have Rainy contesting the pop there. They're still 1 down on the side of turn left, but they are successfully contesting pop, but can they take it in here? No, they cannot. They are successfully defending their check. We are 1 down on the side of Milk Rain. As the Rainmaker is looking to reset as they're trying to hold it, but they are striking on the side of Milk Rain trying to get it into that first check, and the Rainmaker resets.
You know what's funny, Hype, is that every Zuka hater out there in the audience is like, why on earth is this special had to happen the way it did? And if we look at it from another set of lenses, as the name just runs over Naughty with the reef slider right there, it was pretty much a straight line path for the Zuka shot to just land. It led to the easy double, no checkpoints been cleared, so to speak here. So with all that in mind, turn left picks up the Rainmaker. Should be a lead change, yes, only just a small lead change here, but no checkpoints still cleared out quite yet. 2 members down on Milk Rain, 1 on the side of turn left. There is still some firm control, but the trip strike's being used right away. The Rainmaker's been picked up. Rainy slams it home. The first checkpoint is cleared for turn left.
That's great. We love to see it. I mean, the strikes were a great thing, but they are just holding this corner so successfully. And with the tent, this is where the tent really shines. I was wondering about the pick with all the up and down and how that plays with the tent physics. But once you break this check, if you can get the tent around the corner, you can push with that and you can get easy points. Except we are seeing on the side of Milk Rain that they're easily just running it into that check. And now it's a pretty even game, almost in Milk Rain's favor, except they go down to the pop. So then turn left has a chance to maintain their lead here, but it is 1-2 with a lot of carnage around this.
Carnage is a great word to use there, because it's exactly how this is all playing out as well, with both teams almost equaling in firepower so far here in this Humpback Rainmaker matchup. As of course you just get any more points past the checkpoint, it will still mean a whole lot, but they are going to get collapsed on. The Zuka not able to find value right away. Randy is just lurking, is just running clear. They're actually able to get the trade somehow, some way, and it is going to just be the T-Tech, and it is going to be the name moving forward, and still cut short. I believe the Zuka shot actually got them, but Lepis is right near to get the jumps in, and the Nate gets a few more, and it is going to be 3 members down here on Milk Rain. Turn left's going to get points on the board.
And easy runs, what did I say? Easy runs with that 10 as the strikes come out, but they pushed it to 12. It's going to be pretty hard to beat that without getting basically a Rainmaker dunk. And they're still holding around this corner, although they do have to drop back to mid, turn left, that is, as Milk Rain is pushing up, taking back their corner, holding the Rainmaker on their plat, presumably letting it reset, but I wonder if we're going to see a cheeky right side run, or left side run. And are they on the ink roll? Are they trying to run it? No, they dropped. I always love to see a left side run. It's risky, it's goofy, but I think it makes for great TV.
You got to think about the audience. You got to love the cheat.
Yeah, I don't think they're thinking about the IPL audience right now and trying to make that goofy left side run. Instead, they're doing the same thing, which is putting down the bubble around the corner, running right, skillfully dodging that Zuka. They are still just shy of 12 points, though, but there's still a lot of carnage. They get a wipeout. Turn left does on Milk Rain, so they are able to hold it as they maintain their lead, but only by 16 points. Although at this point, it's going to be kind of hard for Milk Rain to take it back since the Rainmaker is on their plat. It unpopped, so they're going to have to pop it, let it reset, or pop it and grab it with just a minute left on the clock.
And that's exactly what you know there. The Rainmaker, where it stands when they went down, was kind of rough timing there, but the rest turn left is 3 down. Wait a minute, everybody look closely here. Bubbles is right there on the side, and it's gonna be turn left, gonna be completely sandwiched between 2 sides.
Can they run?
Not quite yet. Not quite.
Bubbles is still here. They're getting jumped, and there's 22 seconds left on the clock. Okay, 2 down. Okay, but 1 down on the side of turn left. It's now 3v2, but turn left has the Rainmaker, and they're dropping it off their plat, so no more sneaky plays here. If Milk Rain wants to take it back, they're going to have to do it the hard way, going around Ben. Or hey, maybe another sneaky left side run. But it's 3-3 here.
You're really hoping for that sneaky left side run. There is no chance. There was never any chance there.
Hey, I feel like they heard me when I was like, I think you should make a left side run, and the bucket says, heard Hypercube, and they try and get the sneaky pick, and it almost worked. They were able to push it 6 more points, but not enough to beat the 12-point run that they were contesting.
And you know what the funny thing is? I was actually gonna know where that Rainmaker position was, because yeah, you either have to rush up and pop that Rainmaker to get the to continue this push, or you're gonna have to let it reset. I think Milkrain was being really bold. I actually kind of like the idea that Phobos had here, as we do get to see the replays there. Phobos was on that saucer duty, but then got shut down. So at that point, you've lost the pressure on that left hand side. Milkrain then was kind of playing in desperation mode at that point. They just had to have somebody picking up the Rainmaker, but yeah, turn left just sandwiches them, and it is going to be a 1-1 tie. Hypercube, by the way, quick note on the records. Both team 1 and 2, by the way, record-wise, coming into this matchup. So this game's really actually does matter, and it's on Mahi zones.
For sure. I mean, this can be make or break. I know you can go to day 2 with a 3-3 record, depending on how many teams are playing in low ink this month. But really, to secure a day 2, you want to go 4-2. So both of these teams are kind of fighting for assurance that they can make day 2, because truthfully, losing this, that's going to limit your chances of getting into beta or gamma bracket. But we are moving to Mahi Resort, and I was a Mahi hater at first, but now I am a big fan of Mahi. I love to take a vacation to the splat zones there. What do you think about this map? Who do you feel, based on the comms that we've seen, has the advantage?
You know what's funny? I actually think this is still equally matched, given how we've seen both teams play. But the way that Turn Left has adjusted for their compositions, I feel like they may have a slight edge, but only not by much. Not by much. I'm gonna throw out that disclaimer there coming in this one. And Mahi zones. I was about to know, you may have good experiences, or you may have nightmares, man. Depending on how Mahi zones. Also pre rework or at post rework, wherever it is. Now here's the thing that we do need to keep an eye on, Hype, as we're about to load in here into this third map, is watch at the 60 point remaining marker where the train's gonna change for sure with the water levels. So that's kind of be the thing we're gonna need to keep an eye on here, as we do see the weapon changes. Honestly, actually, I think it's exactly the same weapons, if I'm not mistaken there. If anything, then they might going back to the S blast with that Booyah Bomb for sure for paint coverage, and obviously trying to take advantage of the blaster.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see the bow pick here when it's such a small map that Hydra's range can be really powerful here, but bow does, I think, paint just a little bit more. We are seeing 2 down on the side of Milkrain, and Turn Left is taking the zone. Quickly, I'm sure, going to take the lead here from the 11 points that Milkrain has scored. They're going up with that 10. That 10 can hold a lot of space, considering, again, how small this map is. And we see the strikes coming out here, and the Booyah as well.
And the Booyah coming out should clear out some space there. It's actually going to lead to a point-blank shot there from Nene, but I've noted there earlier is that both teams are so equal out in firepower that it feels like both teams can't really get a firm control of the zone. There's the 2 down situation. Make that the 3 down there from Milkrain, and Turn Left should be able to clear out these penalty points here soon. They got a lot of paint on Milkrain's territory there, Hype.
Yeah, let's see if they take the plat. This is always a question when I'm playing, to take their plat or not to take their plat. And we see them pretty solidly staying in mid, playing in mid, giving a little bit of that space up. And there it is, the water level dropping, changing the train, giving them a lot more paint, especially for specials. We are seeing 3-3. We're seeing some specials on board as Turn Left is counting down the clock and getting another pick. They're at 35 ticks. Milkrain has to make a push soon. They better start thinking about it.
They gotta start thinking about it there. They got only one special. It's just a lone bubble for defense or offense, depending where they place it. It has to be the go time here soon. Booyah Bomb to zone out the right-hand side of the map. Naughty's not able to get through. It's actually gonna be 2 down. Make that 3 down. That should be GG. Well played here from Turn Left. Response ain't gonna favor Milkrain, and Azuka icing on the cake there for sure. And Turn Left takes this one home. 2-1 set victory for Turn Left there, Hype.
Wow, that was incredible. I mean, they held the zone for basically the entirety of that game. Milkrain was able to contest, but especially at the end when there's just the pencil up and that pencil is getting hit in the face directly point blank with Azuka. I mean, what can you do?
It's exactly what I said. What can you exactly do with Azuka that's just right in your face? Yeah, and it's exactly there just needed to be the time for Milkrain to push, but unfortunately, kind of a big disadvantage there because you also had the Booyah Bomb, the trip strikes for zoning, and Milkrain was caught in the land of not many offensive specials to use. With the Zuka, they didn't even have a cooler farmed up. There's just not much left in the tank, so it was just kind of a desperation maneuver there. And of course, gotta love the Zuka lob shot to the pencil for a little bit of a celebration there. Hey, Turn Left is gonna be up 2-1. They improved to 2-2. Milkrain dropping to 1-3 here after the end of round 4. I think we saw a close matchup between these two teams though. There, Hype.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is a great game. I love this format for low ink because by the time you reach basically the halfway point, it feels like all the teams are pretty evenly matched just based on their win record. So it makes it pretty easy to have fun games to watch where with a pretty good back and forth. Well, I'm wishing well to both Milk Rain and Turn Left, wishing good runs for both of them, especially because, you know, when your opponents have a good win percentage, that really helps you moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. When as you know there earlier, 4-2 kind of the ideal record you want to get when you're at to make it to day 2. It's gonna be a little bit more. It's gonna be an uphill battle. I always love to say that, just an uphill battle, a mountain to climb, etc. For if you have 3 losses to your record, so you just gotta make the run the rest of your way if you're Turn Left, and especially if you're Milk Rain on both sides. Hypercube, that was a great round 4 here. As we do see 2-1 being the final score there. A lot of sets still trying to wrap up here. This should give us time for a break there. Break here just to get ourselves composed, if anything. So we'll see you guys back here. Round 5 will be queued up once we're ready to go with that. So you don't wanna go anywhere. We'll be right back for round 5. Welcome back, everybody. It's round 5 of Low Ink here in the January 2025 edition of Low Ink. I'm still Kyon. That is still the six-pack yolks hype with me. Hype, we are just hype fresh off of the round 4 set. Now we got the round 5 set. Rewind and Arrows of Gale is going to be coming up here. And should be another fun one up ahead here, Hype.
I am excited. I mean, this is, you know, as with the last one, this is also kind of make or break. I think both of these teams are 3-1 right now. I've got both of their teams full up. Are you familiar with either of these teams? I'm not particularly familiar with Arrows of Gale, but I have seen Rewind around. You seem excited. Okay.
Yeah, don't worry. I gotcha. I've actually had covered Arrows of Gale in previous tournaments before, and this, in my opinion, is going to be an up-and-coming team to look out for. I only know them, of course, from Ludi season 15 way back when, where they finished runner-up in their bracket. That's awesome. They're up against a very familiar team in Low Ink in Rewind. Of course, you have Peaches and crew as well, with Rezi, Zadro, and Hammer as well, rounding out that roster. It should be a fun one. You exactly hit what I was about to hit next. These are 2 3-1 teams. Day 2 bracket stuff in mind, so it should be a lot of fun here, as we do have our map list. Barnacle and Dime Clan Blitz will be the opener for this one, and Hyper, give any opinions you have with this map combo.
Okay, I do love this map, for better or for worse. During ballpoint meta, I don't know why I was such a big fan. I can't put my finger on it. It's a flat map, which is great for, you know, when you play weapons that shoot straight. This is a map that when I was trying to learn RPD, I really wanted to throw it in on this map. I feel like there's some good angle shooter spots, but looking at these teams' rosters on Sundae and what we're seeing right now, no RPD pick, but we are seeing the ballpoint. I love a ballpoint. Let's go.
Are you sure you willed the ballpoint meta into existence? That's kind of what I was trying to figure out there myself.
Best meta. Let's bring it back. We got the ballpoint, we got the machine from the machine meta, and we got the Headit from the Headit meta, which, yeah, I know it's pencil meta, but in my brain, we're in Headit meta now.
Heavy edited enthusiasts are still happy. We got a representation of everybody involved. By the way, Rewind's gonna be on the outside of the yellow color side. Purple will be Arrows of Gale. As you do get to see, of course, it is Clan Blitz in Barnacle and Dime, so you, of course, will be waiting for the Power Clan to spawn here right away. We do get that Ultra Stamp actually dodging around Crash Med, then throwing it right into terrain, not able to get any value right away. It is gonna at least be a trade there, as Crash Mad's gonna go down on that one, and it will just be still some clan gatherings to happen here. Hypercube, as both teams not able to quite get the power clan yet, and still very neutral across the board for in terms of map.
Really going back and forth. We had more specials up on the side of Rewind at first, but then they got picked off by Arrows of Gale, and then Arrows of Gale took some paint, and now it looks like they're trying to cash in on some of that paint, get their specials up, but it's still 2-2. I mean, no one really has the advantage quite yet. With 9 clans on the side of Arrows of Gale, 3 on the side of Rewind. It looks like Arrows of Gale is trying to work something up. So we got the ballpoint on the right side holding. They're trying to take their plat. Rewind hasn't taken their plat back yet. And we have a pick for the ballpoint. And they are 2 down the side of Rewind with enough clams to make a power clam for Arrows of Gale. Looks like they're pushing up, preparing for score.
And they will be able to cash out that one. That is the first points there from Crash Mad, but it is just gonna be 2 down. Make that 3. Entire team is gone. Forget that idea. The ballpoint is spared, much to the delight of Hypercube, of course, as Yoshi's gonna have to retreat on the backhand of that one. Actually get a pick on the Peaches. Well done there. But all that being said and done, Oh, I know, right? But Hypercube in this case, it is just gonna be a one and done push there for Arrows of Gale, and the Inkjet is online for Yoshi if they want to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about I know for clams, ideally you want to get what, at least 30-40 points in, right? But it seems like this match is going to be pretty back and forth, and just slowly chipping away at the points by throwing in one clam after the next. I mean, it works best if you kind of have a rat comp, which Rewind has the brush here, so I would expect to see more of that from them. But hey, if Arrows of Gale can continually get points just by opening the clam basket and just getting the power clam in, I mean, that's a scrap. And we're still, if you look at the board here, we're 3-3. We got the soda up on the side of Rewind, so I expect them to try to make a push as they're trying to take Arrows of Gale's plat. But they're one down. Again, it's 3-3 again. We're just kind of trading here and not getting a lot of momentum. Although Arrows of Gale doesn't have a lot of clams on the board, and they are 2 down now with Rewind taking their plat. But then here we go. We're back to 3-3.
A lot of trades happening back and forth as you've alluded to, which ultimately means no ground really gained from either side. Rewind is kind of just slowly inching, ever so slowly, close to that basket, just not able to find the openings quite yet. I think just waiting for the right time to strike with what they have. They do have a special available that I believe is the Ultra Stand that is there, but it is just going to be 2 members down, and Arrows of Gale at least able to respond nicely. But here comes the hammer from the aptly named Hammer himself, Hammer Glazer on top of it. This should be a jump coming up here soon. That is going to be 1 and 2 power clams into the basket. The free clam from home is going to be able to cashed in. It is going to be 57 points remaining. That would be around 43 points, and that's going to be that. Hypercube, it is enough for the lead for Rewind as they take home 2+1 for the push.
But wow, I mean, look at that. You know, what did I say about the ratting? You know, you gotta brush, you spam this way, you jump in. So they were able to get a significant push here points-wise, but they didn't really get to hold the basket in any meaningful sense. And Arrows of Gale is able to take their plat back, and we're kind of back to this skirmishing.
Yep, and back to the skirmishing we go. About a minute left to go on the clock here, and I'd imagine Hype from experience, this, despite it being 57-80 with points made, it's still a good amount of time. But Rewind 3 down should give Arrows of Gale some turf to work with. They got a power clam ready to go with 45 seconds left.
Yeah, what do they need? So they need a power clam, 2 power clams, and that'll help them take the lead, right? So they got the one in, they tried to go for the other, but they got kicked off. It is 2 down on the side of Arrows of Gale. Rewind still trying to make something happen, hold this for them. We had the ball play, they took the lead, and then they go down.
And that's the end of that push, but more importantly, that is the lead. But here's the other thing too: if you're paying attention to the score, it is just the 21 extra penalty points they got to clear out. So 1 plus, if I do the math, 2 small clams, all they need for the lead change. So this is gonna be a nail biter coming into the end of it. Hammer takes out the sloshing machine on the right hand side. That's gonna be a man advantage coming up here from Rewind. They do, I believe, have the power clam available. If they do, yes, they do have it into overtime. 1 power clam is available right there. 2 for 2 on that side. Here's the jump coming in for the power clam on that side as well. Hammer trying to run through, trying to use their brush skills to no success as overtime is halfway through. By the end of it, it is going to be a delayed wipe, and that's going to be that for the push. And push there, no push available from Rewind. Arrows of Gale survives. It is going to be game 1 going over to Arrows of Gale.
Wow. I mean, what a game, right? I mean, that was so back and forth. And even looking at the map in the end here, it's basically split down the middle, purple and yellow. No one really even having full map control by the end of it. I mean, wow. I mean, you see when you're at the end there, you have a ball and everyone is just frantically trying to jump in to get it in as overtime is ending.
You know, you can probably speak from experience as well, with just the panic kind of settling in overtime, and you're just trying to figure out, all right, we gotta get this power clam in like now. Where's the time? And I feel like just getting picked off one by one. There's that 3 down and the delayed wipe. I know there too, and Rewind just ran out of time effectively to get that push started. Their Hype.
Yeah, I mean, even if they could have gotten the clam and they needed to be able to hold it for at least a couple seconds to get, what was it, 2-3 small clams in. I mean, hey, but that was a close game. If I was Rewind, I wouldn't be feeling any type of way about it going into the second game here, because there's still 2 games. And when my team's down, I always say, one's all they get, right? One's all they get. But we'll see if one's all they get on the side of Arrows of Gale.
Would you think anything changes for the fact that game 2 is going to be on Umami Ruin zones, which of course is that 2 zones map that both teams will have to deal with?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I play these games very differently. I wonder if they'll keep the ballpoint. I do see on Sendu that Yoshi is a Splatling main, and I do see the mini here and the headed. And if I'm feeling particularly cheeky in terms of paint, I feel like with how small Umami Ruins is and how, I mean, both of the maps are or both of the zones are so easy to stall, right? So as long as you can hold your side with just the paint, as long as you have someone holding that, you can have other people going and cleaning up to hold the other side. I mean, it can get to a situation where it's pretty hard to flip the zones as long as, you know, there's someone holding the one. So, I mean, we'll see. I usually, again, clearly go a little more paint heavy here, but we'll see what comes out with both these team comps.
Yeah, team comp's going to be the big question here, coming out of Rewind and Arrows of Gale here. As we look at the weapons there, actually, I don't think there's going to be any changes for Rewind, if I'm not mistaken, on this side. On the other side, it is an NZAP, I believe, that is making its appearance here, coming out of Crash Mat.
Yeah, well, I'm really surprised to still see the brush here. Usually that is Clam's only weapon, but I'm excited to see what they do with it. I mean, the hammer is great for holding the zones here, just a couple of hammers and you get the zone right. So easy to stall, easy to cap, and we do see the zones go to the side of Rewind, but they are 2 down, so we'll see how long they can hold it. So they do have Soda and a hammer online.
Yep, the Soda and the hammer is available, and the hammer is shut down. Every hammer enthusiast will be very sad to see that one. Gonna be a complete change. Their Arrows of Gale is gonna be getting the zones back. Booyah Bomb is pretty much queued up. Chugging it to, well, I think they actually threw it out of bounds. Actually, the explosion. The poor Booyah Bomb just cannot get value there, Hypercube, and it is gonna be the control loss for a few seconds. And that all that being said and done, Arrows of Gale retains both zones. We gotta say goodbye to the Booyah Bomb though. They tried.
But even with the 2 strikes, they couldn't cause even just the right zone. It's 3-3 on both sides. Oh, no, they are 3 down on the side of Arrows of Gale, but they are back quickly. Presumably, they also had Soda, but the zone goes over to Rewind.
Yeah, hey, by the way, that double there from Zedro, that is going to help open the doors a little bit there for Rewind to just be as aggressive as they can. It's going to be a hammer for ballpoint trade, but they are going to lose the shot on top of it as well. And these points still continuing to go down as you do get to see the jumps coming in there soon. It is just going to be a wrestle for the zones here at this stage. Kind of a mishmash of fighting that's kind of happening between both sides there, with the zones kind of be staying in neutral for just like a few minutes longer as Hammer, of course, with that hammer themselves, they were only able to stamp out a few, and Rewind able to get the zones back just like that. They're hype.
And listen, as a Splatling player, I know the weaknesses of Hammer, which is being shot at by a Splatling. That's what the ballpoint is great for here, being able to take down that hammer and coming in with the inkjet and getting the sticks and being able to bring the zone back to the side of Arrows of Gale. But look at the points on the board. I mean, this is so evenly matched, 45 to 42. Again, it feels like the last game with the Carnage, right? Kind of passing it back and forth here, pretty even in terms of splats, but except as soon as I say that, 2 go down on the side of Rewind, and Arrows of Gale is able to hold it, and look at that paint control all the way up to where their clan basket would be if this were clans.
Yeah, and at this stage, Arrows of Gale able to get the lead back just like that, trying to work their way up forward just now, and it is going to be that control kind of being lost for just a few quick seconds, and it is going to, as Arrows of Gale going 2 down just like that. Ballpoint, of course, it has an inkjet that's ready to go. There's going to be a quick zones change there. Rewind's going to be able to wrestle that one back just now, but at this stage though, Rewind just having to chunk through these penalty points here, Hype.
Yeah, no, when you have to go through the penalty points, I mean, they held the zone for a long time, but only got, 15 points on the board? And now it's in control of Rewind. And again, it's so easy to hold these zones. So, oh, hold on, except are they going to take the left one? But as soon as they look left, Rewind is back on right. And so far, they haven't lost control completely. And Rewind is still going through those penalty points. And they have Zuka on the board.
Yeah, Zuka is going to be available from Rewind if they can take advantage of it at this stage, as I believe there was a pick, yes, onto the ballpoint on Yoshi's hands there, as it is going to be the lead change once more. Back and forth we go. 2 members down on Arrows of Gale. The hammer is available and just kind of trucked into the sign, and it is going to be these points range still going down just a little bit more, with no contest kind of left on site there from Arrows of Gale. 2 points remaining, and that's all that it's gonna be there. And just like that, Hypercube, we're gonna be entering the game 3 with the score being Rewind 1-1. We're tied up once again.
Nothing is sadder than when you see the zone capped post-mortem, right
Yep.
after the game ends. They had 1 point, they were able to stall it at 2 points, and they were Arrows of Gale desperately trying to hold their own zone, trying to keep it, trying to buy themselves just a little bit more time so Rewind wouldn't get the knockout, so they could stall it, keep going back and forth, and they were able to cap the zone, but not soon enough.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering about. Is we do get to see the replay there. It really just boiled down to the retake that we needed to see there from Arrows of Gale, but to no success, and that's pretty much what we saw out of that replay there. So, Hypercube, this seems really familiar for both of us, doesn't it? 1-1 tie coming into this game, coming into this game coming into game 3. Why am I saying game 5? It's round 5 for that matter. You can tell where my brain is currently.
I think. Yeah, Bo Inc. best of 5, playoff 5. What do we think?
God, goodness almighty. So yeah, so hey, hype. It's game 3 once again. Do or die effectively for at least possible game. Now, here's the thing: the loser doesn't want to go to 3-2. It's still very manageable for day 2, I'd imagine, for the team on losing him. But if you're winning this one, you improve to 4-1. You're almost effectively one step closer to finishing it off for Alpha if you're able to make it home. Excuse me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going 4-2 basically guarantees you beta bracket, basically guarantees you game 2, right? But this feels like a fight for on a run to Alpha bracket, which I'm wishing for both of them, But I'm excited for game 3. These both have been so close, despite the fact that Zones was a knockout, but Zones is always a knockout, So
As
I'm excited to see how they play this tower match. And see any changes on the side of the comps? No. Well, we are seeing the heavy edit come out instead of a ballpoint on the side of... Nope, actually, never mind, I lied. There's still the ballpoint on the side of Arrows of Gale. The edit is on the side of Rewind, which we do love.
Yeah, Rewind's gonna be the one that's gonna be dishing out the heavy edit there. Ballpoint still in the hands of Yashi. So yeah, no weapon changes actually, so to speak. It's gonna really ultimately come down to these small differences. You're going from zones to tower control and Mako now, so now you got to play this one just a tiny bit differently, effectively, if you will. As it's gonna be the first checkpoint clear for Arrows of Gale. They're pretty much rolling right now, trying to put paint over that left hand side, preventing Rewind from having a chance to strike there. But you can't do much when the Ultra Sam's is going to be charging right at the tower and just taking out one of your players just like that. They don't make it to the second checkpoint whatsoever. Their Rewind holds, but it's going to be 52 points remaining for Arrows of Gale. They're hype.
Yeah, no, nothing you can do about the hammer hitting tower. I saw them put the soda on the tower to try and block it, which one of my favorite strats personally, but not going to do much to hold it. But hey, we have it going back to Rewind. They're trying to break that first check, trying to even out the score a little bit. Although Arrows of Gale did get it down to 52, which is halfway through. But truthfully, that latter half is personally harder to break through. So once you get through that first check, really it's how fast can you get through the second check, and can you even get to the third? As you got the high ground here, and you see Yashi holding it, and Arrows of Gale takes back the tower and stops Rewind from taking the lead.
Yeah, Rewind was almost like a few more points, a few more units.
5 points away. I mean,
yeah,
that's nothing. That's not a lead that you can really hold on to. They have to make another push if they're trying to win this game.
You know the player that's trying to help out with this push? It's Hammer Glazer again with the double on that Ultra Stamp. There, Rewind is still holding onto some of that ground. Stoll's actually kind of looking on that right-hand side there, just trying to see if they can stop Rewind. No success, though. It's going to be the lead change, baby.
Oh, they're
maybe not. Nobody's there.
Firing is back, and their points go back up to 53.
Nobody there for the hammer. Okay, now they just need to wait a few more seconds there on top of it. Their Hypercube is actually going to be Peaches, actually trying to play this one a little bit more aggressive, trying to pull from the side, but is going to be cut short. 2 members have gone down just like that for Rewind. Arrows of Gale stalls the push, but Arrows of Gale, despite their best efforts on defense, not able to hold the lead much longer, and the hammer gone from Rewind. Arrows of Gale going to retake some of the map, but they're going to need to get the lead back. Maybe this might start 2 down on Rewind.
Absolutely. I mean, truthfully, that push to 53, it took the lead, but truthfully, for how long, right? I mean, I think the real winner of this match is going to be whoever gets that second checkpoint, if they can get that second checkpoint. I've definitely seen games go down to, who can push closest to that second checkpoint, but, I mean, if I on either of these teams, I'm gunning for that second checkpoint, and then I'm holding.
I mean, with the time left on the clock, time left on the clock there, hype. I assume with that much time left, there's no reason to try to push for the third one. That could get out of hand fast. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, sometimes you're feeling cocky about it, right? I mean, it feels safest, except we are 2 down on the side of Arrows of Gale, and I'm sure they are just trying to get to that checkpoint. And they are so close. Once again, just 5 points behind the scores in this match. 3-3 on either side, no specials on board, so it's pretty even. We're skirmishing around the tower. We've gotten some trades happening. But now we're 3 down on the sides of Arrows of Gale with 1 point. 1 point away from taking the lead here.
We're literally in a game of units of measurement, inches, centimeters, wherever you are out there, and it's just not enough. It's really coming down to who's clamping down on defense the best now at the rate we're going. Maybe even making it to the second checkpoint alone could be the win condition there. With a minute left to go, by the way, Cooler's been popped out there as Yoshi's going to go down to a Zuka shot on top of it. Rewind is trying to extend this lead. I think more likely going to try to put the tower close to their territory to make things harder for them, harder for Arrows of Gale. They could actually be a little bit more greedy with the amount of pain around this second checkpoint here, Hypercube.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're trying to push it. It's again 3-3. They've got the hammer online on the sides of Rewind, though, so if I was on the tower, I would be ready. And there's a wipe out on the side of Rewind. Hammer goes down, just the bucket. Arrows of Gale pushing it. They just need to push it 1 point. They have 25 seconds left, and overtime if they can get it.
And right now, 20 seconds left to go. To quote a good friend, Saf, here reminds, the tower's only going on 1 speed, so you got to make the most out of this push. They're going to lose the V dualies there on top of 10 seconds left to go on the clock. 1-for-1 trade, tick for tack. And 2 members down is enough for the lead change. It's 3 seconds left to go on the clock. Rewind now needs to be the one touching the tower, which they will. Overtime now in play. They're 3 down as well on the Arrows of Gale's end, but I noted just earlier to quote my good friend Saf, the tower goes in 1 speed. It's going to give Arrows of Gale time to rebound and get the tower back. And the Zuka shot, that is such a stupid shot that lands as Snowball's gonna go down from Peaches. There's Hammer with that Ultra Stamp, not able to work through the terrain. This is able to get Yoshi by the end of it. They're able to get the second one. What on earth? Hammer takes out 3 by themselves. That's all it's gonna be for Rewind. And Rewind wins game 3 on a nail biter for them. And heavy credit to Hammer getting the 3 picks that they needed to win that one.
That's crazy. I mean, we just saw it go back and forth and back and forth. And again, if someone could have broken that second checkpoint, a team could have played defense, but it felt like, I mean, it was just, it felt close every single time. Desperate please to stop before the other team takes the lead, and desperate pushes to get just the couple of points to take the lead back and forth.
That is such a stupid shot from the Zuka. I'm not gonna lie.
I know, watching that, I was like, they're grasping for straws, but it's Zuka, so you can get the pick if you vaguely know where they want to be. I mean,
every Zuka hater is now fuming every single time just watching that shot land. But hey, it's the pick ultimately that opened the door, because in an overtime situation, 1 member down could mean a lot in terms of defensive maneuver. And Hypercube, I know it's just round 5. We're only talking about 2 teams with a 3-1 set record. Ultimately, though, it may mean the alpha run of a lifetime if they're able to win the round 6. But that third map, I'd imagine, got everybody on their seats basically for the most part. Hype.
Wow, that was bonkers. I mean, we love to see it, right? We love a close game like this, and clearly both teams definitely ready to make the cut for Alpha Beta bracket, ready for a great run, which I'm excited to see tomorrow. But oh wow. And hey, I love to see a good Hammer play. I mean, as someone with a dedicated sploosh on the team, I'm a Hammer believer. It has so many great options. I mean, I know also as someone who plays Splatling, it's also very easy to counter, but it's got so many good options. I would love to see it get buffed, and when you watch it work, it works.
So, if in all of my history working with games that have Ultrasamp there, Hype, I've always had to note Hammer jank almost every single. It's just because it's an awkward special. It's an awkward special ultimately that gets used, because you either get thrown off by the hitboxes for more or less, or literally just shots right in front of you, and then you still go down, and it just leaves the Hammer player just very confused for the most part. But I definitely agree with your sentiment. Good Hammer play just shows every now and then.
Yeah, I wish, again, I wish it got some buffs. I wish it could actually protect itself. I wish all sorts of things. I wish its hitbox was normal. I wish its like protection box was also normal. But it's really fun to watch it when it works. And low ink is a great spot for that, right? Low ink, we're seeing sliders, and I mean, I guess we're seeing top level sliders, right? I mean, Char has been a slider believer recently, it seems, but I love low ink to see strats like this working. A dedicated brush player who played brush all 3 games, not even just in clams, making that hammer work, ledge camping with the hammer, camping tower with the hammer. Great to see.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a little bit of everything too. You know how you know that you know how you know that there's so many different representations of each meta from the very from it was this set for sure. Because you had Yoshi, by the way, on that ballpoint. I think we saw the sloshing machine as well. Of course, cooler representation, and of course splatter shot representation. So I mean, I loved the many different weapon combinations that we were seeing out here, especially in that matchup against Arrows of Gale Rewind. Their hype.
Yeah, no, that was great. You know, not to talk just about the hammer, and I feel like I must say to their Zuka user, I know we're like goofy, they shouldn't have been able to hit that, but you know what? It does take skill to use Zuka well. There's a reason I don't use Zuka. But as someone who's only on the receiving end of a Zuka shot, it never feels fair.
I told you before, there are a few people out there who just looks at Zuka right in the eyes, hype, and they're just like, why on earth does this special have to work the way it does sometimes? And also, why on earth did it need to have the long arcing shot there? We saw the because Peach's peg on the snowball is I know I'll say it in nicer terms, the silliest thing that has ever happened, of course. But I imagine like every team just looking at that, it would just be like, why did this have to be a thing?
Yeah, hey,
So-
listen, I did love seeing the ballpoint, though, bring us back to ballpoint and inkjet meta. Maybe it's because I played an inkjet weapon, but I loved inkjet meta. I think inkjet is another really fun special. I feel like it's very well balanced. I mean, I know it was a little overtuned when it was inkjet meta, but it's a lot of fun. It's a great special that I love to see. Honestly, across all specials in these past 3 games, I mean, very effective. Really turn the tides of all these games.
You know what's funny, because I always forget the because it's the sets that we cover, round 4 and round 5 there, every weapon and their specials had a chance to shine. I forgot that the Reef Slider actually was used in the previous matchup, but I had to remember that because it was in that Humpback Rainmaker matchup. So
Yeah.
So hey,
I was surprised for, because it can be so janky, the route for the Reef Slider, but I was surprised to see them make it work on the Humpback map.
Yeah, I've seen Reef Slider actually be played in Humpback Pump Track more than I care to admit, admittedly. But I've seen that special do get used a lot. So to me, I'm not surprised. I know for someone like, wait, why is this still here? And then we all know how that goes sometimes, doesn't it?
I mean, to be fair, I was surprised when they brought Splashdown back, because I felt like Reef Slider was supposed to be the substitute for Splashdown. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, this makes sense. I mean, it's definitely got its, being held in place immediately after the slider usage, not great, very punishable. So I thought that this was supposed to be their rework of Triple Splashdown, and then they brought in Triple Splashdown, and I was like, so what are we doing here? So what are we doing here with this slider?
Every Splatoon fan's gonna be questioning that as much as possible. Which, by the way, we do have the next matchup coming up here. But before we get to that, I wanna touch base on your team. So your team here real quick. So you, of course, representation of Six Pack Yolks. You Hypercube. I actually did a quick check on how they're performing. 3-2 record, to say the least. By the way, coming
and hey,
direction.
I will say, the one loss was to Celestial. Shout out to Celestial. Thank you for bringing our opponent's win rate up. You're doing great out there.
That is true. They 0-3 Celestial, one losing 2-1 to Los to a Los team, not Los Inklings. I'm not even gonna bother
Not
pronouncing
Los
that one.
Inklings. Yeah,
No,
not Los
Freak
Inklings. Another Los.
Freak Force and Sour Patch Squids. Your team's doing their part with 3-0. Why on earth did I ask you about the 3-2 though, Hypercube? The teams that we're covering next is going to be 3-2, by the way.
Well, because 3-2, it's a critical point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so going 3-3, depending on your opponent win rate, depending on how many teams are playing, you could make it to Gamma. Especially if, someone doesn't check in tomorrow. But we really want 4-2. We want to make it, I mean, we made beta bracket last month. We'd like to do it again, at least make Gamma bracket, right? We want to go 4-2 to secure it tomorrow. So we're hoping, here's to hoping. Shout out to Icy Hot for subbing in for me today. And shout out to Vowel Something and Neko for playing. And I'm really excited to see this next match, especially Non-Binary Fuss. I'm not particularly familiar with Fruit Punch Sundae, but I love you, Non-Binary Fuss. Tess, the actual winner of Captain of the Year, where I was only honorable mention. Non-Binary Fuss, great team. I think they're recruiting soon, to plug that. I don't want to be wrong there. Check their team page, follow them, they're cool.
So, Dave, we love Non-Binary Fuss out here as well. Fruit Punch Sundae, I believe it. I know someone here. Shoutouts to Elliot. There, we'll probably be seeing how this team performs. Leaf Koyora, and I'm actually having to remember this team here. Why am I blinking on this one? I believe it's Saikoro or it's Saikoro. That's the Japanese name. And then Summoner, I'm gonna just say for the 4 letters there as well. That rounds out that roster. Or I guess apparently I've been told we can call him Dice for the Japanese name there, which I thought was Saikoro. So Hypercube, back to real quickly back to the 3-2 there, and then we'll get to the map list. Exactly to your point, because 4-2 could most likely could be beta, or on the off chance of tiebreakers could be alpha brackets as well. For the team that wins this one. And of course, loser, I could either be in beta or gamma, depending on how that result goes. I think needless to say, Hypercube, just like how Six Pack Yokes is doing, both teams, this is basically must win for round 6.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we're covering this game because, a team that, like Celestial, last I checked, which was before the last set, so I'm not sure how they did the last one, they were 4-0. A team like that, once you reach 4 wins, it feels like you're sitting pretty, right? You don't have to give it your all. I mean, you should, right? For respect for your team, for your opponents, for the game, right? It feels good to give it your all, but there's not the high stress situation. I mean, we are going to be watching Non-Binary Fuss and Fruit Punch Sundae really fighting for their lives out here, right? They really want this win. This is make or break. If you want any sort of placement day 2, I mean, especially, again, you want it to look good, you want a beta or alpha bracket win. And I know, again, not particularly familiar with Fruit Punch Sundae, but I know Non-Binary Fuss has it in them, and if Fruit Punch Sundae got this far, they do too. So they're going to be fighting for their lives out there.
First map of this round 6, a very critical round 6, of course, for both teams. Scorch Gorge, Rainmaker. I'd imagine, Hype, if you're in this situation, you want to win this first map and get yourself started on the set strong for the most part.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like Clam Blitz on Crab Leg is a little more controversial, and Hagglefish feels, I would say, more palatable to more people. Scorch Gorge, Rainmaker, though, I feel like this is a very snowbally map. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm a Div 9 player here, but I feel like once you get past that first check, running through that hallway, I mean, it's make or break. It's Blitz. You can snowball so easily there.
All right, we load right in for this critical game 1 of round 6. Non-Binary Fuss on Alpha, Fruit Punch Sundae on Bravo side. Quick look at the weapons here. Blue Dapple's making an appearance. Hello there, and a Vanilla Blaster with the Stamper. A whole sort of weapons to say the least. But it is going to be dueling Nzeps to speak up here in Scorch Gorge. Rainmaker as the bubbles popped and Trip Tricks already thrown out here. Hype.
That's good. So we see the regular Blaster mirror on both sides. That's an interesting pick for me. I guess maybe not. I think maybe it's interesting that they're on both sides here, but hey, Bubble strong, right? We have 2 down on both sides, except we have Soda, so we got jumps back in for Non-Binary Fuss. They're still 2 down. They're running the Rainmaker. They're holding it strong. They're skirmishing with the Rainmaker pretty successfully against this Stamper. They're still holding strong, but the Stamper gets them eventually, and that is a wipeout for Fruit Punch Sundae as Non-Binary Fuss coming back here. Yep, Fruit Punch Sundae, however, going down wholeheartedly, but it took a bit for Non-Binary Fuss there as everybody was having to play on the jumps there. As Blaster with the Reef Slider tries to clear a path, maybe a second too early on that one, as 3 members going to quickly go down. It's only going to be just the 47 points remaining here in Scorch Gorge. Rainmaker, Fruit Punch Sundae pumps the brakes on this
push that non-binary Fuss was about to dish out, and now they're about to wrestle to the right-hand side. Gotta look out for Bleach though with a stamper, but they're gonna get shut down just like that. Summoner on Rainmaker duty there as well. They're gonna get one more member, they make that the third, and this could be another close battle here. It's gonna be delayed wipe. Should be the checkpoint coming up here, Hype, as it will be both checkpoints cleared.
Wow, so they are pretty evenly matched. I know non-binary Fuss is in the lead here, but unless you can really run it down that hallway, that's not particularly a lead worth defending. You gotta, I think, still make another push, except Fruit Punch Sundae isn't able to get that lead, isn't able to get it to hallway. They're 2 down, 3 down on the side of Fruit Punch Sundae. So now it is non-binary Fuss's turn to make another push, to take some more space. And they do pop. It looks like they're going to leave it, except there is a blaster flanking. Not a problem for the other blaster. Non-binary Fuss winning the blaster 1v1.
Fruit Punch Sundae getting very opportunistic actually with Dice trying to make the jump happen on the non-binary Fuss's end, but gets severely punished, which is going to build a lot more room for non-binary Fuss to strike, but it may have to just wait just a tiny bit more as to make that 3 members of non-binary Fuss going down. That's, I believe, a triple from Leaf, and it should be the fourth pick. No, Blaster rolls out of it, but it is going to be Blaster getting 2 by themselves. Could be the third one here. No, Blaster gets 2 for themselves, but non-binary Fuss still holding on to that space there from on Fruit Punch Sundae's end. It is going to be 2 down though. Fruit Punch Sundae slows down. This has been happening so fast between both teams, with fights happening left, right, and center. And Hypercube, to say the least, Fruit Punch Sundae has the Rainmaker, and Dice is being bold.
That's crazy, and they're able to get into that hallway. They're able to run it down to 25 points. This is definitely a lead worth defending, but they're going to try and hold this for as long as possible. 3-3 on either side. They're able to get the pop. They're able to get that chain, but pretty quickly covered up by non-binary Fuss, who's able to get 3 picks, and it's just the NZAP who's running back to mid, not giving jumps, not safely, which I think is pretty important on this map, being able to give jumps. Oh, they are able to give a jump to the splash. Very important, calling out this way, trying to rally the troops to their ramp, keep it safe. 1 down on the side of Fruit Punch Sundae as non-binary Fuss holds the Rainmaker, and they're going to try and take that lead back.
You know, I feel like every time we've tried to take a pause for 1 quick second, another fight breaks out. It's happening in breakneck speed, say the least. Super fast pace of play is happening left, right. And both teams just trying to find any sort of advantage, so to speak. Here, I feel like both teams just don't slowing down is not in the vocabulary, to say the least. Hype.
Absolutely not. I mean, not being the vocabulary of Splatoon, especially in the soda meta that we're in. I mean, these teams are able to get back so fast, very little downtime, and we're 2-2 in just a couple seconds. We're 2-2. The state of the game has completely changed. We have a bubble up on the side of Fruit Punch Sundae as they are trying to maintain their lead at all costs.
Yeah, this is now, so Fruit Punch Sundae is still looking to get even more points on the board, or just holding on to this Rainmaker for as long as they can. Bleach is going to go down. In fact, 50 seconds, they actually could cash in on so many more points. 21 points remaining, and that's all it's going to be for that one, but it's still a very safe lead, to say the least. And the problem for non-binary Fuss now is that where the Rainmaker's positioned, they got to have to take that all the way back to Sunday's end, and that's going to be the tricky thing. There are 2 members going down, make that 3 members going down, a total wipeout. But here's the next step here, Hypercube, is that non-binary Fuss has to now travel to the other side. So much pain for Fruit Punch Sundae that they could catch them by surprise. There's Leaf, but Leaf is going to go down, but they did lose Blaster, so they got to play this one with a little bit more caution at this stage. Bleach is going to play this one very patiently. There's that slow pace that that non-binary Fuss has. There's that reseller between charged into no success now, but it is going to be 2 members down. On Sundae is able to collapse in on them. Everybody is trying to retreat for their life, but the Rainmaker is getting picks, and it's going to be just that. All it ends is a blaster pick. Hypercube, we have gone on very fast breakneck pacing here, and it all ends with Fruit Punch Sundae taking game 1.
I mean, they pushed it farther than, non-binary Fuss made an incredible comeback at the end there. I mean, you know, good on Fruit Punch Sundae for pushing it as far as they did. I mean, it's a pretty risky play, right? In some ways, you're delivering the Rainmaker to non-binary Fuss on a silver platter when you die and you drop it there. But with so few seconds left on the clock, it's not like non-binary Fuss had a chance to paint up and let the Rainmaker reset. They had to pick it up there, and that slows your team down, holding just the Rainmaker and trying to paint back up and trying to take space, and especially running it all the way down to 21 points. That's a big ask holding the Rainmaker and running it from your goal essentially to the other teams.
Oh boy, I think I'm gonna have to catch my breath here because we also just got some lovely stats, by the way, being set by the producer. So, oh my goodness. So everybody on non-binary fuss, by the way, Ocean Opal at 10 picks, 18 picks for Hakuna, Bleach 17, and Blaster at 14. Koyo and Leaf rather 25 piece from the N-Zap and the Vanilla Blaster. And it wasn't even Dice that I had my eyes on, but Dice came up huge, by the way, with the Stamper as well. That was, I think that entire game was nuts. And Koyo, by the way, formed 8 coolers.
Yeah, I mean, the 8 coolers and the 25 picks on the side of Koyo, I mean, that speaks to me just how well that they are using Soda, especially with the 25 picks from the Blaster. I mean, this just speaks to me to the fact that they were using their coolers effectively. Their teammates were getting kills with the cooler, and that presumably they were engaging in fights with the cooler and then going down only when they had cooler. I mean, 8 coolers. How long does a cooler last? 12 seconds, is that right?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that with 8 coolers. I mean, that's more than a fourth of the game with teammates spent with the cooler. I mean, that is not something to sneeze at.
No, absolutely not. And both teams
Zap only died 6 times, so presumably every time they went down, they had Soda, and they did a great job of making sure that their teammates, I mean, both sides, everyone did a great job of making sure that their teammates could jump back in, especially the Stamper on the side of Fruit Punch Sundae. They were able to retreat, and the Zap was able to retreat as well a couple very important times, so their team could jump in and not give up too much space to their opponents.
And that was a very fast game, to say the least. We may be slowing down just a tiny bit here, Hype, as we are entering the crab leg clams map, excuse me. As actually, it's going to be a wholesale weapon change coming out of Fruit Punch Sundae. So two weapons are swapped out. Vanilla Dualies. You got the mint decaf from Summoner as well. We switch over to non-binary fuss. Quick glance at the weapons. Actually, going to be the exact same. Anything you can take away from Fruit Punch Sundae here, Hype, with the weapon changes?
I mean, 2 swords. I think that's... I don't know actually how I feel about that. It gives a lot of aggression, right? Both of the swords, despite swords being melee weapons in Splatoon, have pretty good range, and they can definitely use that effectively. As much as they are 1 down, but it's 1 down on both sides now. There's a Stamper on both sides too. We got a Stamper mirror, which is interesting. Seeing the Zip come out and... Oh my gosh, and so we are 2 down on the side of the fighter, but as I'm watching it, there's just specials after specials coming out, but no one really able to take a lot of space here. As much as Fruit Punch Sundae is holding mid, they're not able to get up to non-binary fuss's plat just yet, but they are taking top right, which is crucial.
Yeah, top right is gonna be the big control point here, as Summoner just catches Bleach by surprise and slashes them in half there with a nice little flick of that decaf. But all that being said and done, you're exactly right. It's still kind of this neutral game, but both noted from earlier in the first map that it's super fast. Both teams are looking for ways to punish the other opponent, whether it's just through soul plays or just catching them by surprise. And it's kind of still showing here with this gameplay. It's not really giving teams the chance to get the Power Clan farmed right until Fruit Punch Sundae gets one ready to go. So now they're going to look for the chance to push. But at this stage, Fruit Punch Sundae is still waiting for the prime time to strike. Could be now, but the Dualies is going to go down, and then it's going to be 2 members down from Fruit Punch Sundae. Retreat once again here, Hype.
Oh, see, I was going to say the one advantage that Fruit Punch Sundae had is that they had almost 20 clans on the board, while non-binary fuss had just a handful, but now they are down to no clans because they're getting the fix, and non-binary fuss is able to farm a ball and put a bubble up and get the basket broken. They've got a reslider up here, but that reslider gets punished, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get anything besides the power clam in, and basically just give a free ball to Fruit Punch Sundae. But, as I said in earlier games, if you can just kind of slowly chip away at the basket, and it seems like this game is going to be evenly matched, it's possible that neither of these teams are going to be able to hold the enemy team's flat for very long. I mean, chipping away at the basket is a strategy.
Hey, maybe small pushes at a time may have to be the name of the game here, because before we knew it, Fruit Punch Sundae gets another push. The first push of the game for them started. But how long is this gonna last? This might be this jump is gonna get punished, but not just that. Probably ran out of time on top of it too. Both teams on one and done pushes, to say the least, and forget the idea of pushing for the basket. We just gotta look for picks left and right. I think that's what both teams are trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way to hold space, right, is to make sure that there's no one alive to hold that on the enemy team to hold that space. So they're just trying to get picks. We saw Fruit Punch Sundae try and get a second ball in that blitz, but they just couldn't make it. So now we're back to this state of no one really even controlling mid yet. All these fights happening in mid. We're seeing the Zipcaster come out, trying to get a couple picks. So close on the Blaster, getting the Blaster. So it's 2 down on the side of Nonbinary Fuss, with still 2 specials up on the side of Fruit Punch Sundae, and they have a ball built, but it's 3-3. And it kind of feels like we're back in the same spot that we started.
Like, there are like 2 fights that are happening left and right, and let's be real. There's one flank that's trying to have it with the Stamper, and then all of a sudden, boom, Reef Slider just shows up and then just tries to distract the other team from happening. And we're still stuck into this. Both teams have one and done pushes. Obviously, Nonbinary Fuss gets the first push, and then Fruit Punch Sundae punches second. But this is their time. Finally, for Fruit Punch Sundae, they're able to get the second power claim in. This time on a segmented second push, as it's down to 62 points remaining, and we're still operating off of energy drinks, effectively with how fast both teams want to play. But it's a delayed wipeout, and it will be Nonbinary Fuss able to hold the line. They do lose the lead with a minute left to go here, Hype.
Yeah, I mean, that's, they got more points and they took the lead, but just the ball and a couple of clams, and Nonbinary Fuss has 12 clams, not counting the ball that they just dropped, but now they have 6 because it's only their Blaster left, who is desperately trying to hold mid as they're getting pushed back by both of the swords. There's a jump that is not going to be safe on the side of Nonbinary Fuss, except with Pure Toolies, all jumps are safe. I take it all back. But we have the Zipcaster coming out and desperately trying to hold this space, trying to get the pick, and they do, but that's only 1 down on the side of Nonbinary Fuss, as Fruit Punch Sundae is trying desperately to hold.
So Nonbinary Fuss, the thing right now that they gotta focus on is obviously staying alive, but because both teams want to just fight, it's been a little hard for them to get the man advantages. Now they have to start playing at a point where they can punish multiple members all out of the board here. And right now only just 1 member up. They're gonna have to pick up the free clam. So if we do the math real quickly, 1 + 3 will be just enough to get the lead change. But will this happen soon? We're down to overtime. They gotta look for those openings here soon. There is a suction bomb that's going to slow things down by a bit. Blaster is down. There's the Stamper. 2 members are down onto the side point, and that's all it's going to be. The wipeout is secured. Fruit Punch Sundae takes home game 2, 2-0, and we will play all 3, but Fruit Punch Sundae improves to 4-2. Nonbinary Fuss down to 3-3. We gotta wait for the third map, but that was so well played from Fruit Punch Sundae.
Yeah, no, that was great. I mean, all of the skirmishing, all of the carnage, and they were able to hold it, but it did feel like Nonbinary Fuss was just 2 missed shots away, right? 2 missed shots on the side of Fruit Punch Sundae away from actually breaking the barrier and taking the lead. I mean, it always feels that way, right? I'm sure Nonbinary Fuss was feeling the pressure in this overtime, and they were able to get the ball so close up to their ramp, and it just felt like with the Zipcaster, if Fruit Punch Sundae was just looking the wrong way, if their dualies had just missed, if they were just looking the wrong way, wrong place at the wrong time, Nonbinary Fuss could have made it, and at least, I was going to say take it to a game 3. It's a game 3 no matter what, but, it's got to feel bad going into a game 3 feeling, with a set that looked, and I'm sure felt so winnable. It was so close.
It feels really rough, I'd imagine, on any team. Just so close. Maybe a few different plays that could have went in their favor. And I know, yeah, we're gonna go to play all 3. We are gonna have the third map anywho, but it is effectively a Fruit Punch Sundae set victory coming up here. So Hagelfish Market Zones. Obviously, the third map has to be played for tiebreaker implications, of course, for bracket reasons. But real quickly, Hype, before I ask you about Hagelfish Zones, we got stats here, and honestly, everybody played pretty balanced for the most part. The highlight here, of course, is Koyo on the NZAP, only going down 3 times, but of course, farming up 7 coolers.
Which is bonkers. I gotta say, we were talking about how these teams were both going for picks. It's so shown in the numbers here, where everyone on both teams basically going about 10 deaths per game and getting somewhere between like 12 and 19 picks. I mean, a lot of picks, a lot of assists, a lot of deaths, except with the exception of the Zap on Fruit Punch Sundae, only dying 3 times and getting 7 coolers out, presumably only dying with cooler as well. I mean, truly the MVP. So Leaf, the Dapples on the side of Fruit Punch Sundae got the most picks on the board, but I mean, with 17 picks from Koyo and only 3 deaths, the numbers don't lie. That's incredible play.
That was nothing short of incredible for both teams here. Halo Fish Market Zones is going to be the next one up. Non-Binary Fest just has to recover. Try to finish this one off on a high note. Fruit Punch Sundae looking for the 3-0. I mean, Hype, you're on a game 3 for the tiebreaker. You're gonna have to play it on probably one of the more popular Zones maps. I feel like Zones is popular though in general. Let's get that out of the way here too. But any thoughts with this map combination for both teams?
Well, so Non-Binary Fest, I'm sure they're feeling a little dejected right now, right? They've lost the set officially, but their win rate, it still matters. It's to go to game or to this could make the difference between like gamma or beta bracket, right? Winning this game, for example. So I don't know what we're gonna see here. We're seeing the mini Splatling. Oh, I love you, Zimmy Splatling. So on Non-Binary Fest, we are seeing the Zinc Mini Splatling. I am such a big fan of the Mini, especially for zones. It paints so well, and it fights so well too. With the bubble, being able to hold that space, I'm excited. But we have 2 swords, but not just 2 swords, 2 Stampers on the side of Fruit Punch Sundae. So really leaning into the 2 swords thing that we've seen in this set. Very interesting. One of their Stampers is down, but we're basically just skirmishing in mid. No one taking the lead. We see the bubble come out on the side of Non-Binary Fest, and the other sword going down on Fruit Punch Sundae, but 2 going down on Non-Binary Fest around the bubble as Fruit Punch Sundae is throwing out the strikes to take the zone.
The funny thing about the 2 Stamper setup, by the way, that Fruit Punch Sundae has is it's actually both variants of the Stampers too. You got, of course, one with your vanilla with your Zipcaster. The other one has a crab tank. You're just a crab tank. Nothing wrong with that. There, and Fruit Punch Sundae, by the way, also dishing out the pencil. So forget the end zab. Let's just go with the pencil for a killer option. And yeah, Non-Binary Plus also has Ultra Noble on the S-Blast with the Booyah Bomb, so gonna be intrigued to see how the weapon changes. I know you're a huge fan of that little Zimmy there as well. I don't blame you. That love to see that weapon. But more importantly, Fruit Punch Sundae riding this momentum down to 37 points remaining with the way this push is playing out right now. Leech is getting caught into some tough terrain here with the trip strikes used for defensive maneuvers. Fruit Punch Sundae is just riding this momentum.
Wow, I mean, they are just holding. We're seeing Non-Binary Fest trying to paint the zone, but the Zimmy is looking away. The Zimmy should be, to hold that zone. They're so good at it, but luckily they take the lead anyway. And there's still that fight happening on left, but one goes down on the side of Fruit Punch Sundae, and it is just the pencil left. And Non-Binary Fest make sure that they don't go out in a single push, which is great.
Yes.
You do love to see that. And they're counting down. They're at 60 points right now. Holding space, they have the Zipcaster online, but that's the only special right now. But the Zipcaster goes down as they are trying to hold the zone and getting zipped upon themselves.
And now the ultimate question now for Non-Binary Fest is how are they going to hold? They're actually they're doing a phenomenal job. They took 2 members out. They take out the crab tank users. 3 members down. It's just a pencil that's alive. But Koyo gets
now they have been holding as
few tap shots just like that, and it's going to be 15 points remaining, and the lead has indeed changed hands. No trip strike's going to secure the zone, but more importantly, Hypercube, it's going to be Non-Binary Fest with the lead, but they got to hold.
That is bonkers. They have a 53 penalty to break through, but it's just as Zimmy left on the side of Non-Binary Fuss, who's doing their best to lay down paint to hold space as their teammates come back. But I mean, both of these teams able to hold the zone for so long, get quite a push it here, that it's very possible that Fruit Punch Sundae could take the lead again.
And right now, Fruit Punch Sundae, however, losing multiple members, especially their main painter in Oil, with the pencil, the trip strikes and the crab tank are going to secure the zone, and now they're going to look for the last set of picks here, as it is going to be ticking down on these penalty points. It's going to be slow crawling here from Non-Binary Fuss, as it is going to be 1 member down. Just the Stamper's going to go down, not enough to hold the lead. The lead changes hands back to Fruit Punch Sundae. Non-Binary Fuss in the last few seconds are able to swipe the zone back. It is a close battle here. Each zone for everyone basically. Ocean Opal with the pick onto Dice on top of it, and it's going to be 2 members down, and Non-Binary Fuss needs to find the next few members if they want to get that 3rd map win. But more importantly, though, for Fruit Punch Sundae to get the lead back once more.
I am mouth agape over here. I mean, you can tell how badly Non-Binary Fuzz doesn't want to get 0-3 here, right? They want the win. They want to go out at least going, 1-2 in this set. Except Fruit Punch Sundae has pushed up far. They've got the crab, where I love the crab, on their last, trying to hold this spot, make sure that they don't take anything. But they do get punished for it, and they are 2 down, have to retreat back to the zone as Non-Binary Fuzz contests. As they are just 2 points away. If they can hold this zone, they win. But Non-Binary Fuzz is trying their dangest, and they do take it.
Yeah, and
coming back, trying to hold this space, but Non-Binary Fuzz is currently in control of the zone, and it's 3-3, 2-3 with Non-Binary Fuzz here.
yeah, so now at this stage it's gonna be 2 members down, and now Fruit Punch Sundae kind of having to be dealing with staggered respawns here. Or at this stage, that's a nice little punisher of that jump that Dice was trying to be opportunistic with. Bleach from downtown gets a zip caster splat on top of it, and Bleach is doing their best to get Non-Binary Fuzz staying in this game, but there's only 2 members down, and now this could flip the other direction with the pencil. But there's the crab tank. Crab tank punishes on. They gotta get everybody in here soon, but 2 members are down. This is gonna literally be a nail biter here with 5 points remaining. More units of measurement going down. Non-Binary Fuzz indeed holds, and they will salvage the set. 2-1 will be the official score for Fruit Punch Sundae, but Non-Binary Fuzz, I'd imagine Hypercube has to be feeling great, at least finishing that one the way they needed to.
Absolutely. Wow, the back and forth wow, that was bonkers. I'm sure that feels great. It's hard to walk away from a set. I mean, these games were close. We watched all 3 of these games, all 3 of them so close. And it could have been possible that Fruit Punch Sundae eked out the lead here. Just, I mean, ticks go down so fast when you're holding the zone. I mean, less than a second per tick. That the fact that they held the lead, by what was it, like 12 and 17 in the middle there, right? Like that's nothing. That feels negligible, except when it comes to winning the game. And so I'm glad Non-Binary Fuzz was able to get the win here. So they went 1-2 in this set, because it feels bad sometimes to be like, the games were close. Yeah, we went 0-3, but the games were close. I promise.
Yeah, for sure. Like it was definitely one of those cases where the games were so close, but ultimately it does ultimately boil down to who gets the victory when it matters the most. And the first 2 maps for Fruit Punch Sundae really did the trick. I feel like it's safe to say here, Hype, basically came down to just few critical moments that either at the end or in the middle that ultimately dictated it at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what incredible matches. All of our matches today have been so close. I was going to say they all go to a game 3, but yeah, that's lowing. That's the format. They all go to game 3. But I think, have all 3 of our matches been...
They ended in a 2-1 for sure, especially the first 2. The game 3 would be a 1-1. This is our only set where it was a 2-0 coming into the game 3. So it was honestly really close. We had a really close round 4 and 5 and 6 for all of you. And for one last time, by the way, I want to highlight the stats here, Hype, before we transition on, because this will give us some time to give us a quick preview of how that tiebreaker played out. Leaf this time was definitely the star from Fruit Punch Sundae, along with Koyo. Yeah. Who else? You got to look out for Koyo if you're having to deal with Fruit Punch Sundae tomorrow for sure. But honestly, it was a well-balanced effort by everybody that did play. I know solo plays are going to highlight Fruit Punch Sundae, but Non-Binary Fuzz balanced game overall, got the specials that they needed from what we see here.
Yeah, absolutely. Koyo again only getting 4 deaths, which is incredible, but we see that Blaster 2 is playing the Zimmy, also only went down 4 times, and Non-Binary Fuzz's Zap Hakuna also only went down 6 times, with a relatively high death count across, both sides, because, I mean, as, we saw so many fights, and there's also, of course, obviously, many picks on both sides. So, really high intensity games, really back and forth, and in ways that, we're talking about being in cooler meta would not be possible if it were not for cooler making sure that everyone engaging in fights can get back incredibly quickly.
Yeah, definitely. So that wraps it up. I did want to see the one I was curious about is if this one mattered. Tentatively, from what I see, Non-Binary Fuzz, with that record is gonna fall to that gamma bracket tentatively. Obviously, depending on the tiebreakers. I wanted to see where Fruit Punch Sundae lands. So far, with the way that played out, that did improve them to beta bracket. But but again, waiting on how the tiebreaker calculations did play out, because a few sets are still in session here. But yeah, that was a much needed victory for whomever comes out of that one for beta versus gamma. But more importantly, I want to talk about your team here, right? Because you got six-pack yolks, 3-3 on the 3-3, and if there are still sets that are still active, you are literally the last team in to barely qualify for Gamma. You had to hope that tiebreakers don't hurt you, but again, you gotta wait for the results to go final. How are you feeling with the 3-3 for your team?
I'm feeling great about it. I mean, I feel like we ended the year with some rough patches, basically like bronze FTIU, right? And so being able to climb back, make beta bracket last month, hopefully gamma bracket this month. Everyone make sure to show up if you do make bracket tomorrow, but also if you don't, that's fine too. You get to play. So I'm really excited. 3-3. It's nothing to sneeze at in a tournament. I know Low Ink is a low-level tournament, right? But I mean, low level is such a broad swath of players. I mean, D5 players have really impressive plays. I think the biggest thing that differentiates, top low-level players and mid-level players or high-level players is just consistency, right? Which is something I'm friends with Hammy on Los Inklings, which is something that, they talk about with Los Inklings all the time. Los Inklings have incredible plays, and right now Los Inklings is leading the Group A Swiss bracket, and, they're just working on consistency now. So, I mean, there's incredible players in this quote-unquote low-level tournament that can do some pretty high-level stuff when they're playing. So, going 3-3 in Swiss in Low Ink, yeah, we're pretty proud of it. I'm pretty proud of my team. Glad they could hold down the fort while I'm gone. It feels great. I did want to highlight some of the teams that are top right now. So Lost Inklings, Inkbound, and Tidal Disruption. Of course, we have some sets that are finishing up right now, 5-1. Celestial to Ink Phantoms and Disclaimer all going 5-1 on the A side of things. And I wanted to take a look at the B side of things too. These are teams that are probably going to be going on to Alpha Bracket. Of course, things are still settling. So, and on the B side, we have Ball Up Top Squared, not losing a single set and only losing a single game, making it top of their side of the bracket. And then E-Chain Spam Club, Wee Balling, Tidy Tidings, and the Rays, Love You Whipped Rays, going 5-1 for Alpha Bracket on the B side.
Yeah, I love the team. Love some of the teams in there. Bob Top was the one I was highlighting, the only undefeated team there. I do see Tetris Effect, which should be in the cusp of Alpha, covered them in SOS early in the week there too. And yeah, of course, I'm still waiting for that one result to come in to see if that actually barely got six-pack yolks out of Gamma or if they stay within Gamma, but waiting for that result to go final, of course. So yeah, Los Inklings, of course, they're two at the top so far, but more importantly, consistency is key for all the teams that are playing here today. Excuse me, I'm used to saying tonight. Hypercube, it was fun working with you, especially for your second go here. So we're about to wrap up day one. Where can the people find you, first of all?
Oh, wow. So you can find me on Blue Sky. I'm Hypercube SPL on Blue Sky. I wanted to say thank you so much before I hand it back to you. IPL for, of course, hosting Low Ink, for giving me a shot. This is my first commentary set that's not at like an in-person LAN at Chishul, so this is my first thing online, and this has been a pleasure. Thank you, Kyon, for having me here, for adapting around me, for being a lead. This has been great. Thanks to all the teams that played. Low Ink is such an incredible event that happens once a month, and it feels very special, so I'm glad to be a part of it. So, Kyon, where can everyone find you?
Find me at the usual places, of course, Twitch and Blue Sky. Twitch, I normally stream all sorts of stuff. I'm on break for 2 weeks because I got a convention coming up here next weekend. So if you may have heard Magfest, I'll be over there for the weekend. So that's where I'll be. And then of course follow me on Blue Sky for all the usual nonsense. Shout out to Ellie, who our awesome producer, for taking you guys home day one. But you covered all my shout outs there. Guys, guys, girls, and MBs, of course, do not, well, you will have to go somewhere today, but tomorrow, day 2 coverage begins, of course, with Alpha.